This page is the colorful cover of the September 1992 issue, featuring Sonic the Hedgehog surfing on a board, narrowly escaping a menacing shark below. The main title proudly declares, "Beep! Powerful Mega Magazine Mega Drive." Front and center are highlights for the issue, including a special bonus Mega CD software catalog, Yellow Page, for Summer '92. There's exciting news about Capcom's classic Final Fight, coming to the Mega CD. The cover also teases a major feature titled The Series, promising revelations from production staff about upcoming Mega Drive sequels, with a deep dive into highly anticipated titles like Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Streets of Rage 2. The Mega CD press section previews other upcoming titles such as Dark Wizard, Thunderstorm FX, Afterburner 2i, Rise of the Dragon, Robo Alesti, and Switch. The cover also mentions Landstalker, The Treasures of King Knowles. This page features promotions for upcoming Sega Mega CD titles. The upper section is dedicated to Dark Wizard, showcasing dynamic fantasy art with 4 prominent characters, likely the main protagonists, wielding weapons and magic. The accompanying text describes the game as a grand fantasy world experience, with rich story, sound, and full animation, highlighting that players can choose one of 4 main characters, each facing trials and destiny, and mentioning multiple endings and multiplayer. Screenshots below depict a world map, a castle location, and a monstrous enemy, reinforcing the game's epic fantasy scope. It notes a September release with a price of 6,800 yen. The lower left promotes Rise of the Dragon, a cyberpunk adventure game. The section features the game's stylized logo, striking artwork, and screenshots that suggest a futuristic setting with detective or investigative themes. It confirms an August 21st release date, also priced at 6,800 yen. The bottom right includes a brief advertisement for the Mega CD hardware itself, priced at 49,800 yen, explaining that it is a required attachment for the Sega Mega Drive to play Mega CD software. This page features the martial arts fighting game Shura no Mon for the Mega Drive. The main image prominently displays the protagonist, Tsukumo Mutsu, ready for combat. The game is based on the popular manga series and focuses on the legendary Mutsu Enmei style, an ultimate fighting technique. Screenshots show intense one-on-one battles and a menu detailing various special moves available to the fighters. The game is scheduled for release on August 7th and priced at 6,800 yen. Additionally, there's a significant promotion for a Mega Drive Plus One bundle, which includes the console and the original Sonic the Hedgehog game, offering a chance to win Sonic the Hedgehog 2 through a contest. This page features the classic isometric action RPG Landstalker, the King's Treasure for the Sega Mega Drive. The prominent artwork showcases the protagonist, Lyle, an agile elf treasure hunter, holding a golden goblet and accompanied by his imp companion, Friday. Below the striking gold and blue Landstalker logo, the subtitle reads, Frocket, meaning the King's Treasure. The text highlights the game's innovative diamond-shaped dimension system, DDS 520, which finally realizes a 3D electronic world, marking the transition from 2D to 3D for games. Screenshots illustrate the distinctive isometric perspective gameplay, showing Lyle exploring outdoor environments and engaging in combat. A character blurb, seemingly from Lyle himself, talks about his quest as a treasure hunter after hearing about the legendary King's Treasure on Mercator Island. The page also confirms the game's details. It utilizes a 16 megabit cartridge with battery backup for saving progress. It was scheduled for a September release with a price of 8,700 yen. The Mega Drive Plus One bundle, which includes the console and Sonic the Hedgehog, is featured again, offering a chance to win Sonic the Hedgehog 2 through a postcard entry contest. This page showcases Metal Fangs, a near-future hypercar action game for the Sega Mega Drive. The striking artwork features a cybernetic figure surrounded by wires, hinting at the intense, wired-up action. The game is described as a completely new car race experience, blending the speed and excitement of car action with the thrill of a roller game. Gameplay revolves around strategic combat that is even likened to martial arts, as players choose 4 out of 32 unique characters to form a team, divided into attack and defense roles. The objective is to earn points by completing laps within a time limit, while actively hindering and crashing opponents. Screenshots display the isometric perspective during races. Metal Fangs was scheduled for release on September 25th, with a suggested retail price of 6,800 yen. It was published by Victor Musical Industries. This page is a striking advertisement for Thunderstorm FX on the Sega Mega CD. Dominated by artwork of a futuristic helicopter against a dramatic sunset backdrop, the page promotes this title as a cutting-edge 3D virtual shooting game. It highlights the inclusion of advanced features like 3D binaural sound, and boasts impressive visuals with 10,000 graphics/full anime. Presented as the first in a new LD game series for the Mega CD, it suggests the game utilizes full-motion video technology to deliver its immersive experience. 3 small screenshots provide a glimpse of the cockpit and external combat views. The page also mentions a summer tournament event tied to the game's release, which was scheduled for late August 1992. Developed by Wolf Team, the game positions the player as a one-man peacekeeping force tackling conflict resolution. The next page showcases Time Gal, the second entry in the LD game series for the Sega Mega CD, building on the concept introduced with Thunderstorm FX. This is the console port of the classic full-motion video arcade game, starring the time-traveling heroine Reika Kirishima. The page features dynamic artwork of Reika battling a mammoth, hinting at the diverse historical periods she will visit. The text describes it as a virtual anime adventure, where players chase a time machine thief through different eras, highlighting the branching story paths and extensive anime sequences used to recreate the arcade experience on the Mega CD platform. Like the previous title, Time Gal is developed by Wolf Team and promises a non-stop, visually rich experience for fans of the original arcade game. This page highlights Lunar, the Silver Star, the acclaimed RPG for the Mega CD, featuring its striking cover art and announcing its popular release for 7,800 yen. This page presents a dramatic full-page feature on the classic Sega CD RPG, Lunar, the Silver Star. It showcases the game's striking character artwork by Toshiyuki Kubuka, depicting the main heroes ready for action against a dark backdrop. Below the main illustration, several screenshots highlight the diverse gameplay, including a tactical turn-based battle sequence, exploration on a detailed world map, and navigation through a volcanic dungeon. The large Japanese text serves as a powerful tagline, setting a somber and adventurous mood for the game's world. Developed by Game Arts and Studio Alex, Lunar, the Silver Star is a standout title for the Mega CD, known for its engaging story and excellent presentation, and this page effectively promotes its epic scope. This page is dominated by an exciting announcement for Afterburner 2i, the latest installment in the iconic arcade flight series, coming to the Mega CD. The page features striking artwork of fighter jets in action and the game's bold title. The headline boldly states that the game is so impressive it needs no catchphrases, proclaiming the return of a masterpiece. It details 4 key features: realistic cockpit views for tense dogfights, leveraging the Mega CD's power for hypersound and realistic graphics, a dynamic cockpit system that adjusts with the player's viewpoint, and quick throttle control for intense action. Afterburner 2i is scheduled for release this autumn at a price of 8,400 yen, with an FM Towns version also planned. A small side panel also promotes Speedball 2, noting its strong sales performance and listing it as a 4 Mega Room title, available for 6,800 yen. The page also features the Mega CD and Mega Drive logos. This page is all about the strategic simulation game Dyna Brothers. It prominently features colorful illustrations of the game's dinosaur characters and highlights its unique premise. The game is presented as a comical strategy simulation, emphasizing a survival of the fittest food chain ecosystem. It boasts 7 key features, including its super cute characters, dynamically changing maps, strategic depth based on character personalities, and an intriguing alien logic that dictates movement during attacks. It even includes dedicated training levels and was supervised by psychiatrist and game enthusiast Riko Kayama. The page announces Dyna Brothers as a new release hitting stores on July 24th. It's an 8 Mega Room simulation game priced at 8,800 yen. A small section also promotes Galaxy Force 2, noting it's already available for 8,400 yen. The next page unveils a thrilling new racing experience for the Sega Mega Drive, Junkers High. Hailing from the talented staff behind Outrun, this title promises an astonishing new sensation in 3D racing. Set in the futuristic Dome City, the game features cybernetic cars speeding through challenging courses. Get ready for intense time attacks with the accelerator floored, pushing your limits to hit the best laps. The game boasts even faster 3D scrolling than the Mega Drive version of Outrun, running at 120% speed compared to their previous work. The courses are anything but boring, featuring numerous branching paths and a continuous stream of traps and gimmicks like tunnels, hidden routes, jump ramps, and pitfalls, delivering a truly breathtaking and thrilling experience. The gameplay offers a sense of speed, described as feeling like a jet coaster. Plus, with battery backup, you can save replays and track all your best times, allowing you to compete against yourself and others. Shown alongside the main illustration of the futuristic car are several screenshots depicting the intense racing action with futuristic vehicles on elevated city highways. Junkers High is an 8-mega-room title exclusive to the Mega Drive, developed by Sims Company, Limited, and was scheduled for release in August '92, with the price yet to be determined. This page introduces a new hero born on the Sega Mega CD, a Rank Thunder. This is a superhero adventure game from Nihon Telenet's Riot label, featuring a striking illustration of the protagonist, a powerful figure in white armor with sharp horns and intricate mechanical details. A key element highlighted is the lip system, or language instructive picture system, which is presented as the second iteration following its debut in Magical Girl Silky Lip. This system moves beyond traditional adventure game mechanics by allowing players to influence the narrative and character development through dialogue and selecting character emotions, rather than simply choosing actions or lines. This version is noted as being upgraded. Scheduled for a winter '92 release with the price yet to be announced, A Rank Thunder features original work and planning by Shojiro Endo and illustrations by Yasushi Nirasawa. This page presents a full-page advertisement for Koei's upcoming simulation game, Admiral's Decisions, announced for both Super Famicom and Mega Drive. Promoted as a legendary masterpiece, the game is a superclass war simulation that puts the fate of the Pacific War in the hands of the player, acting as an admiral. The artwork features dramatic portraits of notable admirals, set against a backdrop of intense naval combat with battleships and aircraft. The ad highlights the game's detailed data and realistic strategic gameplay. Screenshots showcase the interface, including strategic maps and command screens, suggesting a deep strategic experience. The game is scheduled for release in late September on both platforms, and the advertisement notes that the music is composed by Hiroshi Miyagawa. This page features a full-page advertisement for the Sega CD game Galaxy Express 999. The artwork prominently displays Maytel against a starry background, with the tagline, "Now, with a myriad of emotions, the whistle blows." The ad announces that this masterpiece anime is finally being adapted into an adventure game. It's scheduled for release in December 1992, with the price currently undecided. The bottom includes copyright information crediting Leiji Matsumoto and Toei Animation, along with Telenet Japan, the developer. There's also a note about a Riot-sponsored radio program and a user hotline for new game information. This looks like a promising adaptation of a classic anime for the Sega CD platform, focusing on the narrative adventure aspect. This page announces a special movie screening event hosted by Koei, celebrating the release of The Blue Wolf and the White Doe, Secret History of the Mongol Dynasty, a major historical film based on their popular Genghis Khan game series. This epic Japanese-Mongolian co-production brings the turbulent life of Genghis Khan to the big screen. Koei, known for its deep historical simulations like Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Nobunaga's Ambition, is leveraging the film's release to promote its own games based on the legendary conqueror. The page provides details on how fans can apply for free tickets to the special screenings happening across various cities in Japan. Attendees are even promised double presents, including Koei games, soundtracks, and exclusive merchandise like jigsaw puzzles. Showcased prominently are the Koei Genghis Khan games themselves, highlighting that players can experience the historical drama firsthand. Images display the game boxes for both console platforms, likely NES or Super NES versions based on the shape and price range, and PC versions, specifically PC 88 and PC 98, along with their prices and details on available handbooks and soundtracks. This page effectively links the cinematic event to the interactive world of Koei's acclaimed historical strategy series, encouraging fans of the film or history to dive into the game experience. This page follows up on the announcement of the movie premiere tied to Koei's historical simulation game series, Genghis Khan, The Blue Wolf and the White Doe. It serves as an invitation for fans to attend special screenings of The Blue Wolf, offering free admission for 10,000 couples. Attendees are promised a luxurious double present, as part of the event. The page features dramatic images, including scenes of mounted warriors that appear to be from the film, and a powerful illustration depicting a lone figure, likely Genghis Khan, overlooking a vast landscape. Below the main event information, there is a separate appeal for an educational fund dedicated to the restoration of the traditional Mongolian script, explaining its historical significance and the need for support for printing and educational materials, with donation information provided through banking channels and the Mongolian embassy. This page effectively promotes the movie event, while also highlighting a cultural initiative related to the film's subject matter. This page serves as the table of contents for the September 1992 issue, highlighting the key articles and features within. The top section announces New Release Scramble, showcasing upcoming games like Shinobi 2i, Air Management, Road Riot, Gauntlet, Power Athlete, Metal Fang, Steel Talons, and Megalomania. The main feature is the B Mega Hot menu, providing detailed reviews of recent releases. Part 1 includes Decap Attack, Critical Blow, Deadly Alliance, and Splatterhouse 2. Part 2 covers Landstalker, Neketsu Dodgeball Soccer Story MD, Shura no Mon, Rampart, Side Pocket, and Vixen 357. A major special feature, the series, delves into the secrets of highly anticipated sequels, specifically highlighting Sonic 2, Phantasy Star IV, and Streets of Rage 2. There's also a special report announcing the tentative release of Final Fight for the Mega CD, a major Capcom title making its way to the platform. Another special project features a roundtable discussion with the production staff behind the acclaimed Mega CD RPG, Lunar. The Mega CD press section promises an early look at new titles for the CD add-on. The page lists numerous other articles covering various games like Dark Wizard, Afterburner 2i, Thunder Force IV, Rise of the Dragon, Monkey Island, Wolfchild, Shining Force CD, and recurring columns discussing the industry, game development, and reader feedback. Small screenshots are also visible at the bottom, hinting at some of the games covered inside. This page dives into the crucial shop data, giving us the sales lowdown for both the Mega Drive and the Game Gear. First up, the Mega Drive software sales top 10s. The market's been lively lately, with a mix of anticipated hits and unique titles, and it looks like Mega CD software is starting to influence the rankings. The top spot goes to the highly anticipated RPG, Lunar. The Silver Star, fresh out and making a splash. Right behind it at number 2 is the new Mahou no Shujo Silky Lip, described as the ultimate gouge, which is quite a surprise entry at this position. Magical Taruto-kun continues its strong performance, holding steady thanks to its appealing price point. We also see mainstays like Shining Force still commanding attention, alongside new releases like Caesar's Palace 2, Grand Slam the Tennis Game, and Speedball 2. And of course, Sonic the Hedgehog remains popular, still in the charts. Below that, we get the Game Gear software sales top 5. This summer has brought a lot of new titles to the Game Gear. The top game is the mahjong title Gyuan Bura Jiko Chushinha, followed by Sonic the Hedgehog, Joe Montana Football, The Shooter, Aerial Assault, and Hyokori Hutanjima. This page shifts focus to user preferences and arcade popularity. The top section presents the user data, games requested for porting top 20, showing games users most want to see on the Mega Drive. Leading the pack is the ever-popular Street Fighter II series, followed by Record of Lodoss War, Princess Maker, and Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2-1. Other notable requests in the top ranks include Cotton, Arabian Fight, and the Wolf Fang. Further down the list are titles like the Wizardry series, Final Fantasy series, Fatal Fury series, and Dragon Quest series, alongside Sim City. Dating news is highlighted next to the chart, confirming the upcoming port of Final Fight to the Mega CD, a highly anticipated title. TimeGal is also confirmed for a port. Screenshots are shown for the Mega CD version of Final Fight, the adult adventure game Aya, and the cyberpunk RPG Janae Toshi, Illusion City. So, the shop data, latest video game popularity top 5 reveals what's hot in video games right now, likely reflecting arcade trends. Street Fighter II takes the top spot, with Coca-Cola Suzuka 8 Hours, Flyke 1 Exhaust Note, Warrior Blade, and Cosmic Gang rounding out the list. Screenshots of Suzuka 8 Hours and Warrior Blade provide a glimpse of the action in these popular titles. The user data section highlights anticipated Mega Drive games based on user interest. Thunderstorm FX, a Laserdisc game port, tops the list with 90 points, surprising many with its quality. 3x3 Eyes, Seima Densetsu, an RPG, follows at number 2 with 56 points, while Denjin Aleste, a vertical shooter, takes third place with 32 points, praised for its visuals. Daisenryaku Expert, a simulation game, and Afterburner 2 Eyes, a flight combat game, round out the top 5. The list continues with a variety of titles, like Sylphid, Kidu Keisatsu Patlabor, and Golden Axe 2 Eyes. The introduction also mentions highly anticipated future releases, such as Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Phantasy Star IV. This page presents the new soft schedule, laying out the upcoming releases for the Mega Drive, Mega CD, and Game Gear platforms. It's a comprehensive look at what Sega fans have to look forward to. The Mega Drive section lists highly anticipated titles like Landstalker, The Treasures of King Null, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Streets of Rage 2, and Phantasy Star IV, alongside action games like Shinobi 3 and beat-em-ups like Golden Axe 2i. The Mega CD lineup is also growing, featuring big names like Final Fight CD, Sonic CD, and the impressive shooter Sylphid. Even the Game Gear gets attention, with titles such as Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, Shining Force Gaiden, and its own version of Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The editorial section expresses excitement for these upcoming releases, specifically mentioning the arrival of Final Fight on Mega CD. It highlights a screenshot of Holyfield's boxing, noting its rather quick development turnaround. There's clearly plenty to keep gamers busy as the year progresses towards the holiday season. This page features updates from various game developers, giving readers insights into their current activities and upcoming releases. Sega is hitting the road with Games Zavurus, 92 events across Japan, inviting fans to check out their booths. Game Arts emphasizes the importance of Mega CD, recommending Lunar, The Silver Star, and teasing new autumn titles like a tentative Sylphid. Data West announces Psychic Detective Series Volume 3 Aya for Mega CD, featuring anime content. Namco is following up Splatterhouse 2 with a new original battle game, Balljacks, set for November. Human brings Arslan, The War Record, a simulation game based on the novel and anime, to the Mega CD. Wolf Team marks the end of summer with the release of Thunder Force IV. Cree apologizes for the delay of Afterburner 2, pushed back to November 20th due to production adjustments. Micronet is showcasing Black Hole Assault at summer events nationwide. Victor Musical Industries praises the challenging action of Prince of Persia. Masaya offers a rather abstract, poetic piece, referencing Vixen 357. Finally, Riot provides tips for achieving the Queen, ending in Silly Kiss, and teases an upcoming title, A Rank Thunder. This page features the BeepMD race section, a game review and preview corner. It explains the unique rating system, where games are scored out of 10 based on the average of 4 reviewers, visualized as dogs racing, with more dogs ahead indicating a higher score. 2 games are highlighted here. First, Rise of the Dragon, an adventure game ported from IBM PC, released on September 11th, and scoring an average of 7.25. Reviewers note it successfully captures the hard-boiled, adult atmosphere of the original. Second is Brai, 8 Heroes Legend, an RPG based on the Japanese epic Nanso Satomi Hakkenden, a PC port released on September 10th with a score of 6.0. While the story is praised, comments mention it still feels like a PC game with plain map layouts and a simplified battle system, which is seen as a step back. The section begins with a note acknowledging recent criticism of reviews being too lenient, promising a commitment to strict, user-focused evaluations going forward. Brief profiles introduce the 4 reviewers contributing to the scores. This page continues the BeepMD race section, showcasing reviews and commentary on recent game releases. 2 more titles are featured here, complete with screenshots and individual reviewer feedback, contributing to the overall dog race score system. The first game reviewed is Dodge Danpei for the Game Gear, a sports game based on a comic and manga. It uses a command-based system rather than direct action controls. While reviewers note its simplicity and ease of play, perhaps making it relaxing, its average score sits at 4.5, indicating some perceived lack of depth or excitement compared to action-oriented titles. Next up is Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2 for the Mega Drive. This racing simulator, featuring input from the legendary driver, focuses on realistic race strategy and car setup. The game received an average score of 5.75. Reviewer comments suggest it offers a more serious and potentially challenging experience compared to its predecessor, with praise for the graphics and handling, though opinions vary on its overall appeal. Editorial notes discuss the current release climate, observing a significant drop in the number of games this month, particularly a notable lack of MegaDrive cartridge titles. There's also commentary on the increasing presence of RPGs on the system, giving a nod to the previously reviewed Bray, and highlighting promising releases on the Mega CD platform like the previously mentioned Rise of the Dragon, and the anticipated Final Fight CD, suggesting the Mega CD lineup is strengthening. The B-Mega Reader Race Volume 18 highlights community-voted rankings for Mega Drive and Mega CD games. Lunar. The Silver Star on Mega CD is a standout, praised for its story, sound, and vocal opening, placing second overall. Mahou no Shujo Silky Lip, another Mega CD RPG, ranks 13th, lauded for its graphics, story, and music, despite some gameplay criticisms. The rankings also feature older or lower-scoring titles. Road Blasters, a racing game, places 77th, appreciated for its fast-paced gameplay. Assault Suits Lanos, Target Earth, at 35th, receives mixed reviews, though robot enthusiasts enjoy its story despite control and difficulty concerns. The summary notes the strong performance of Mega CD RPGs and changes in reader preferences, with a notable ranking increase for Alicia Dragoon. This page continues the B-Mega Reader Race rankings and introduces some dark horse games voted on by readers. Featured games include Chameleon Kid, a platformer ranked 93rd, Dahna, Megami Tanju, a fantasy action title at 115th, the Mega CD RPG I'll Load at 124th, and SD Valis, ranked 143rd. These sections provide reader feedback on each game, highlighting points like Chameleon Kid's transformation mechanic and Dahna's pacing. The main ranking list progresses, showing titles placed from 46th to 102nd, as voted by the readers, reflecting the diverse tastes of the Mega Drive community. The reader voice section shares individual comments on various games, such as opinions on Pit Fighter or Thunder Pro Wrestling. A small section at the bottom details the results of a reader contest or poll related to the off-track betting area theme, mentioning the results for Magical Taruto-kun. This page continues the B-Mega Reader Race rankings, listing games from 103rd down to 159th, featuring titles like Toki, Valis 2i, Phantasy Star 2i, Generations of Doom, and Columns, showcasing a wide variety of genres from action and RPGs to puzzles and sports games, along with their average reader scores. The main focus is a detailed look at Rent a Hero, presented as a dark horse pick by reviewer Chaojin Baram 1. This unique action RPG, released in 1991, is set in a modern world filled with gag humor. Despite acknowledging its technical flaws, the reviewer highlights its significant charm, particularly praising the well-developed characters and witty dialogue that make them emotionally engaging. A unique gameplay mechanic where money earned is used to rent armor and weapons instead of gaining traditional experience points is specifically commended as innovative. The review notes the game features character growth and touching events, particularly in the later parts, recommending it to players who appreciate its distinct style. Reader feedback on Rent a Hero is also shared, with comments pointing out repetitive elements and simple combat, but also appreciating the game's modern setting and its distinct approach compared to typical RPGs. The page concludes with data analysis of the reader votes for Rent a Hero, and a suggestion that a potential sequel should be a major title for the Mega CD platform, humorously speculating on a villain named Scientist Coil. This analysis of reader data compares the popularity of original platform games versus ported titles. Original games average a score of 6.6728. PC ports rank highest among ports with a 6.9857 average. Other ports follow, with overseas ports scoring lowest. The analysis also includes the continuation of the reader race rankings, listing games from 160 to 208. Showing a variety of titles. Reader participation is encouraged through contests predicting game outcomes and average scores, with prizes offered for participation in the reader race. The editorial highlights the dynamic rankings and unexpected results within the race. This page covers the latest news and events from the world of Sega. There's a report on a Sonic the Hedgehog tournament held at Studio Alta in Shinjuku, where gameplay was displayed on the building's massive screen, drawing a lot of attention. It also briefly mentions Sonic the Hedgehog 2, appearing at a recent toy show, highlighting the continued popularity of the series. Exciting news about Sega's foray into virtual reality, VR, is featured. A new VR game, utilizing Sega's advanced CG board technology, is set to be unveiled at the upcoming AM show. Furthermore, a VR F3 racing simulator cabinet was showcased at Shibara Gold, creating an immersive experience that blended gaming with illumination and events, quite different from typical disco nights. Finally, there's a summary of summer events for fans, including game tournaments like Gamesaurus 92 and a Kurikuri Mega Battle featuring Mega Drive titles, a game music festival with various bands, an exhibition focused on Go Nagai's works, which includes a demo of the game Meijin Saga, and a nationwide tournament for the arcade game Thunderstorm FX. These events are happening in various cities across Japan throughout the summer. This page dives into recent Sega happenings, starting with a report on the Mega World event held in Okayama. It showcased a wealth of new software for the Mega Drive and Mega CD, highlighting upcoming titles like the arcade port Thunderstorm FX and Tengen's overseas conversions Gauntlet and Rampart. Photos from the event show people playing these games, along with the popular Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. In other news, Sonic the Hedgehog is branching out into the beverage market with a new multivitamin drink collaboration between Asahi Beer and Sega, featuring Sonic on the can. For fans of tabletop games, a new card game series titled Game Designer no Yasu, Game Designer's Ambition, is launching, allowing players to simulate game development. Finally, the page lists several new game music CD releases, including soundtracks for titles such as Siverian, Darius, Contra 2-1, The Alien Wars, the Esper Dream series, Dragon Soseki, and Aqualis, alongside vocal albums. This page showcases several new and upcoming titles for the Mega Drive and Mega CD. Kicking things off is Where's Wally?, a fateful video game adaptation of the popular book series. The core gameplay involves finding Wally and others hidden in detailed scenes, using a trackball for precision. Speed is crucial for finding Wally, while a separate Find the Difference mode tests your memory. It supports up to 3 players, making it a fun party game, and even includes exciting bonus stages. Sega also presents Motocross Championship, a dynamic riding game that captures the feel of motocross races and jumps, impressively supporting up to 8 players with its communication feature. Alongside this, the latest entry in the beloved Golden Axe series is highlighted. From Banpresto come 2 diverse titles: Ultraman Club, Fighting Peak, a simple game where you select from 8 Ultraman heroes to defeat monsters across 8 stages and 48 screens, and a vertical scrolling shooter based on the classic anime series, Macross, likely Macross 2036. Finally, Konami enters the fray with X-Men, an action game utilizing the famous American comic book characters. A key feature is its unique support for up to 6 players simultaneously, allowing each hero to use their signature abilities to take down enemies. The game benefits from a widescreen perspective, offering a wider field of view. This page focuses on sports titles for the Mega Drive, highlighting 2 distinct entries. First up is NHL Hockey by Electronic Arts. The reviewer notes that while ice hockey isn't huge in Japan, the game is well received internationally and captures the sport effectively. It features realistic actions like checking and tackling, and is designed to be accessible for newcomers while offering depth for experienced players, praised as a well-balanced simulation. Next is Arch Rivals from Flying Edge. This isn't your standard basketball game. It features 2 players per team and uniquely allows players to punch and tackle opponents, turning it into a chaotic, arcade-style experience akin to Punkshot. The game is described as fast-paced, with satisfying gameplay feel and detailed character graphics. A small column mentions a mysterious Sega hockey game, possibly Mario Lemieux Hockey, that was apparently quickly cancelled. Finally, there's a giveaway section offering overseas software titles. Prizes include Genesis copies of NBA Playoff, listed as Bulls vs. Lakers, NHL Hockey, and Madden NFL Football, along with Master System copies of Monopoly and Galaxy Force. This page features the Mega CM Detective Squad, focusing on the 3rd commercial they are analyzing, the Senna documentary chapter for Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2. The article provides a detailed breakdown of the 30-second commercial, showing a sequence of 15 stills from the CM. It covers the initial Sega logo, Ayrton Senna's appearance and walk, the game title reveal with impactful text, gameplay footage from the Mega Drive title, shots of Senna playing the game, and the final Sega logo featuring Sonic the Hedgehog. Accompanying text provides production details like the broadcast period starting June 18, 1992, location shooting in Portugal, and Senna's active cooperation. The production behind-the-scenes talk section reveals that the CM aimed to convey the human side of competition, the challenge of becoming number one, and the fun of the game. It also mentions the challenges of filming with Senna, having limited time but highlights his professionalism. The CM was planned for broadcast in Europe, North America, South America, Brazil, and Asia, and encourages players to challenge Senna himself in the game. The article concludes with a call for readers to submit information about other Sega commercials. This page covers the 92 All-Japan Road Race Championship Series Round 6 held at Suzuka. The most striking event highlighted is the 250cc race, where two riders finished in a stunning dead heat, separated by an incredibly close margin of just 1/1000th of a second after the full race distance. The article details the intense dogfight between the two competitors that lasted the entire race. The TTF1 class race saw a victory for Yasutomo Nagai after a competitive battle. There are also mentions of the 125cc race winner and a fierce battle in the 500cc class. The page is filled with dynamic photos capturing the excitement of the event, including shots of the starting grid, riders in action on the track, podium celebrations for the 250cc and 125cc classes, attractive grid girls, and scenes from the paddock area. It's a comprehensive look at the thrilling motorcycle racing action from the Suzuka circuit. This page delivers an emergency scoop. Capcom's legendary beat-em-up, Final Fight, is officially coming to the Sega Mega CD. This is huge news, with the game scheduled for release in December 1992. The article highlights that this port is being developed with Capcom's full cooperation, promising a faithful adaptation leveraging the Chronodrom format's capacity. Previously, Final Fight saw ports on other systems, like the Super Famicom and X68000. The Super Famicom version, shown here, was noted for compromises such as fewer on-screen enemies, one-player-only gameplay, and limited character selection due to hardware limitations. The X68000 port, also pictured, offered a much closer experience, allowing two players and improved visuals. However, the Mega CD port aims for the ultimate arcade-perfect conversion. With the power of the Mega CD and the large storage of the Chronodrom, the article expects full fidelity, including character size and patterns, complete sound and voices, and all stages from the arcade original. Processing speed is also targeted to match the arcade version, and there's even a hint of a potential original play mode being added. The screenshot shown is touted as the very first public look at the Mega CD version in action, featuring Guy. This port is highly anticipated as a potential turning point for arcade ports on the Mega CD. This page features an in-depth interview with the development staff behind the upcoming Final Fight port for the Sega Mega CD. The interview confirms the project is well underway, being handled by a Sega subsidiary with direct support and materials from Capcom, ensuring a faithful arcade conversion. Developers address key questions, notably the possibility of two-player simultaneous gameplay, which was missing from the Super Nintendo version. While currently undecided, the team is actively developing with this goal in mind, aiming to reproduce the arcade's character count on screen despite potential processing speed challenges. They are also exploring adding original modes unique to the Mega CD version, with ideas like a time trial mode and even a one-on-one versus mode being considered, potentially featuring content not seen in the arcade. A major focus of the port is graphical fidelity. Unlike the compromises made in the Super Nintendo version due to memory limitations, the Mega CD port promises to reproduce all character patterns, backgrounds, and presentation elements directly from the arcade source, including the previously cut elevator stage. The development footage shown to the interviewers was described as incredibly smooth and impressive, reinforcing the high expectations for this conversion. Screenshots show the character select screen now featuring Guy and the return of the iconic elevator stage. The team is dedicated to delivering an arcade-perfect experience. This page further explores the upcoming Final Fight port for the Sega Mega CD. addressing the strategic choice to release it on CD rather than cartridge. The article explains this was primarily to achieve a perfect arcade conversion, leveraging the CD's capacity to overcome cartridge limitations and promote the Mega CD system, noting the release timing relative to Streets of Rage 2. It confirms Capcom's extensive involvement, providing direct materials and support, a level of cooperation spurred partly by their reflection on the Super Nintendo version's compromises. The developers alleviate concerns about CD loading, stating it will be confined to between stages. A major advantage highlighted is the music, promising high quality, arranged BGM using the arcade master source. The game will feature arcade-accurate continues. A minor detail mentions Cody's age as being updated for this release. Finally, the report positions this port as a significant event, a rare full collaboration with Capcom, and a key title for Sega's Mega CD strategy to bring more arcade hits to the platform, maintaining a low price. Success here is seen as a crucial step forward. The page features screenshots of Cody and a smaller image related to Ghoul's Ain Ghosts. This page features a new release scramble section listing several upcoming games, including Super HQ, Ninja Gaiden, Gauntlet, Steel Talons, and Megalomania. The main focus is on Super HQ, Taito's port of the arcade hit Chase HQ. This isn't your average racer. It's a high-speed police pursuit game where you chase down criminals. You receive vital intel from Agent Nancy at headquarters and choose from different patrol cars, a sports car, 4WD, or semi-truck, each with unique stats for speed, attack, meaning ramming power, and mass. The objective is simple. Find the criminal's car amidst traffic and obstacles, then smash into it repeatedly until it's wrecked. You've got nitro boosts, just like in the arcade, to close the gap or gain an edge. Screenshots show the communication with Nancy, the intense on-road action, and the satisfying mission clear screen after a successful apprehension. It looks like a faithful translation of the thrilling arcade experience. This page continues the new release scramble, highlighting more upcoming titles. First up is Ninja Gaiden, a completely unique take on the series for the Mega Drive, building upon the Famicom original while adding new techniques. The Game Gear version is noted, but this is effectively a brand new experience, featuring intense action sequences and what looks like fun throwing techniques. It promises to be a solid action game. Next, we see Air Management, a compelling airline company simulation game from Koei. You take on the role of president for one of 4 companies, competing against rivals to build and manage routes connecting 22 cities worldwide. The game accurately reflects the dynamics of the real-world airline industry, offering realistic simulation and challenging winning conditions. Screenshots show a strategic world map view and an aircraft selection screen, emphasizing the depth of management involved. Finally, there's Road Riot 4WD, a dynamic 3D off-road racing game from Atari Games. This game is packed with features, offering a powerful experience unlike other racers. You control a heavy buggy, tackling 11 different course types, with varying environments and road conditions. The goal is to conquer each race. The gameplay includes exciting jumps and potential crashes, providing a thrilling, fast-paced off-road experience. Screenshots show character selection and intense in-game racing action. This page continues the new release scramble. First up is the return of the classic arcade action RPG, Gauntlet. This version for the Mega Drive is a significant event, primarily for its support of simultaneous 4-player gameplay, a rarity on the console, enabled by a new multi-tap unit from Tengen. Screenshots show the game's options menu where you can configure settings including the multi-tap, classic top-down gameplay with multiple characters on screen, and a prototype of the multi-tap itself. The magazine highlights the excitement of bringing the arcade multiplayer experience home. Next, we look at Power Athlete, known internationally as Deadly Moves. This fighting game sets out to deliver unique and interesting characters in a crowded genre. The roster includes diverse fighters from around the world, such as a kabuki master from Japan, a Chinese martial artist, and even a fighter from Hawaii. The game supports 2-player versus matches and features 8 distinct stages. Screenshots display the character select screen showing individual stats and intense action from various fights, including aerial maneuvers. The review seems impressed by the character variety and the dynamic combat shown. This page continues the look at upcoming games, starting with Steel Talons, an arcade polygon helicopter combat game from Atari ported by Tengen. The article highlights its realistic polygon graphics and challenging missions, stating it's a must-check for Atari and Polygon fans alike. Screenshots show the cockpit view, enemy radar, and exterior shots of the helicopter and environments, including training scenarios and combat missions. It's currently 60% complete, and for one player. Next up is Metal Fangs. Described as a fierce car action game by Victor Musical Industries, players control a team of 4 machines in a battle race, earning points by completing laps, overtaking opponents, and using weapons like missiles and Vulcans. The game features 32 unique fangs or characters, and choosing the right team seems key. Screenshots show the intense vehicle combat, a character selection screen featuring diverse designs, and a post-race gamble screen reminiscent of racing games. It's 100% complete and supports 2-player competitive play. Finally, the page covers Mega Romania, a strategy simulation game from Crin and Imageworks, following up on Dynabrothers. Described as a successor to Populous, the game puts you in the role of a god guiding your tribe to victory. The core mechanic revolves around advancing your civilization's technology level, starting from basic tools and progressing to advanced weapons to destroy enemy tribes. Screenshots display the strategic view of islands, with tribes and structures evolving through different technological eras. The game is currently 30% complete and is for one player. This page dives into Teitoku no Ketsudan, known internationally as Admiral's Decision, a hardcore simulation game from Koei. This isn't for the faint of heart. It's explicitly targeted at super advanced players, emphasizing that you absolutely must know Pacific War history to succeed. The game puts you in command of the Japanese Imperial Navy, requiring deep strategic thinking. It features detailed map screens for planning movements and combat, plus a main interface for managing your forces. The game is 100% complete and even supports 2-player competitive play. It highlights the historical context, touching on the lead-up to Pearl Harbor and the pivotal Battle of Midway, stressing the importance of mastering naval and air strategy. You'll be setting parameters for historical admirals like Yamamoto Isoroku before starting your campaign. This is a serious simulation for serious history buffs and strategists. This page delves deeper into Admiral's Decision, focusing on the absolute necessity of understanding the extensive command system. The magazine emphasizes that with so many commands, knowing what each one does is crucial for success. It breaks down the commands into categories like port commands, sea commands, information commands, resources, factory, and council. You'll find commands for managing your fleets while in port, such as resupplying, allowing crew rest, or deploying them to sea. Sea commands cover movement, formation changes, and engaging the enemy. The information section deals with intelligence gathering, checking reports, and managing personnel and resources. The factory commands are for repairing ships and constructing new ones, including researching new technologies like rockets. Finally, the council commands handle diplomacy, base policy, and national priorities like industry and morale. Mastering these diverse sets of commands, from strategic movement and combat to resource management and industrial production, is presented as the core challenge and the key to navigating the complex historical scenarios in Admiral's Decision. It's a true deep dive into naval strategy and management. This page continues the detailed look at the command system in Admiral's Decision, covering operational orders like air attack, bombardment, landing, and rocket attacks, along with base commands such as setting fleet formation, training crews to improve accuracy, providing special meals for morale, and making port calls. The magazine then transitions to advice for starting the game, highlighting 2 key points. First, the difficulty varies significantly depending on the chosen scenario, with 9 historical scenarios provided chronologically. Beginners are cautioned that scenarios 1 and 9 represent long-term campaigns. Second, for those unfamiliar with the system, trying the zero-player mode is highly recommended to learn the game's flow and operations before taking control. A large section is dedicated to listing the actual organization and key personnel of the historical Pearl Harbor attack force. Additionally, the page lists the 9 playable scenarios, covering major conflicts like the Pearl Harbor attack, Battle of Midway, Battle of the Coral Sea, and the Battle of Leyte Gulf, suggesting the Pearl Harbor scenario as a good starting point for newcomers due to its historical outcome. The developer also adds a brief message. This page previews the upcoming Sega Genesis Shoot 'em Up, Crying, Sub-Life War. This original title is described as a super grotesque experience, set on a planet where genetic engineering has run wild, creating a bizarre ecosystem populated by monstrous, mutated creatures. A key feature is the support for 2-player cooperative play, which is noted as making the chaotic levels more manageable. Players choose from 4 distinct character types, split into 2 categories: insectoid and fish-like. These types not only have unique designs, but also differ in movement speed, depending on whether they are in the air or water. adding a layer of strategy to navigating the stages. The combat system utilizes both standard rapid-fire shots and a powerful charged attack called Kiaidan, which varies in effect based on the chosen character. Power-ups are collected to upgrade the player's current weapon, increasing its strength across 3 levels. The type of weapon obtained from a power-up can also change depending on the character, leading to diverse offensive capabilities like wide shots, multi-directional lasers, tracking shots, and unique reflecting attacks. The preview highlights the variety and impact of these different weapon types, promising a deep and engaging shooting experience, despite the game still being under development at the time.
This page continues the preview of the Sega Genesis Shoot 'em Up, Crying, Sub-Life War, detailing the challenges of later stages. Stage 3, set in a tropical jungle environment filled with ancient plants and ruins of a bioengineering lab, features a variety of enemies, from basic insectoids to long, wavy creatures and parasitic types that ram into the player. The stage includes a mid-boss, described as a comically dancing crab, with dangerous long legs and scissors, culminating in an eel-like boss at the end. Stage 4 shifts the setting to a cave, presented as a former mining tunnel that is narrow and vertically structured. The cave is home to unique slime-like parasitic enemies, some covering pathways and others hidden in cracks, alongside bat-like creatures and recurring insectoid enemies. This stage is noted for having many power-ups scattered throughout. A message from the developer highlights the game as an original shooting title that meets expectations, praising its colorful items and graphics for effectively conveying the game world. It suggests the game is a great way to feel refreshed, even during a sleepless night. This page is a preview and guide for the horror action game Splatterhouse Part 2. It focuses on the game's final stages and key techniques. The article begins by setting the scene. Rick, guided by the power of the Hell Mask, is on a quest to rescue Jennifer from the cursed mansion, driven by the knowledge of a ritual of resurrection obtained from the mask. His struggle continues, as he must once again rely on the mask's power. The preview then delves into the final stage, Stage 8, described as the Forbidden Stage. Performing the resurrection ritual inadvertently releases abominable gods, which Rick must now confront. Adding to the urgency, the mansion itself is collapsing due to distortions in time and space, leaving limited time to escape with Jennifer. The page also includes a technical guide focusing on a crucial move, the sliding. It notes that while Rick's basic actions are similar to the previous game, the timing for the slide is quite strict in this installment. It explains the input, direction key plus attack button upon landing, and emphasizes that mastering the precise timing is key and requires practice, suggesting starting in earlier stages with fewer enemies. Screenshots show gameplay scenes including Rick facing enemies alongside Jennifer, the collapsing mansion, and step-by-step examples of executing the sliding technique. The overall tone conveys the challenging nature of the final stage, and the importance of mastering specific moves like the slide to succeed. This page offers crucial one-point checks for helping Rick rescue Jennifer in Splatterhouse Part 2, going beyond basic movement to cover essential techniques and tricky spots. It reinforces the importance of the sliding move discussed previously, but clarifies that it's not always the answer. It highlights situations where sliding is vital for progression or safety, showing examples in swampy or muddy areas where it helps avoid damage. However, it strongly warns against sliding in specific locations, like the library section, Stage 5, or when facing certain enemies such as the boss in Stage 4, where sliding can lead to taking heavy damage. The guide advises understanding enemy patterns, demonstrating an optimal position for tackling the floating objects from the Stage 2 Demon Face boss fight. Mastering timing is also key, especially during the Stage 3 boat sequence, where precise jumps are needed to dodge projectiles. A charming note from the developers mentions that despite their grotesque appearance, monsters like the Stage 4 Great Octopus Monster, Hell Tentacles, can be seen as cute pets that follow you everywhere. Overall, the page provides practical, stage-specific advice aimed at helping players overcome some of the game's more challenging obstacles by emphasizing strategic use of techniques and pattern recognition. This page delves into the evolving world of multimedia, specifically focusing on its potential impact on platforms like the Sega Mega CD and Wonder Mega. The article explores different facets, starting with the integration of MIDI capabilities, noting the MIDI outport on the Wonder Mega. It highlights the potential for richer sound and interactive music applications, like karaoke, suggesting it could offer a more dynamic experience than traditional PCM audio. The discussion then moves to digital video, acknowledging the technical challenges of displaying full-motion video from a CD due to data rate limitations. It touches upon compression standards like MPEG
and collaborative efforts between companies like Victor and Philips to establish new CD video formats. Finally, the article looks ahead to the future player environment, mentioning emerging standards like Kaleida, a joint venture by Apple, and IBM, which aim to create a universal multimedia playback standard compatible with various platforms including Mac, Windows, and OS/2. It expresses optimism about these developments, leading to a more unified multimedia landscape. Images show hardware like the Wonder Mega, a data discman, and scenes from a press conference related to the CD video standard. The overall message is one of anticipation for significant advancements in multimedia capabilities expected soon, driven by these new technologies and collaborations. This page features this month's discussion, where readers weigh in on what game magazines should be like. The overarching question is whether they should be primarily strategy guides, advertising tools, or something else entirely. Readers share varied opinions. Some feel magazines should provide comprehensive guides without ruining the fun by revealing everything too early, like invincible codes or maps right after a game's release. They argue that originality is key, and information shouldn't just be copied across different publications. Others emphasize the need for honest reviews that clearly point out both the good and bad aspects of a game, and that magazines should never diminish the enjoyment for the player. Some readers specifically call for more coverage of technical aspects like sound and music, which they feel are overlooked despite being crucial to the game experience. The discussion also touches on the role of specialty magazines, suggesting they need to be more niche and provide deeper insights for dedicated fans. The page also teases the theme for the upcoming November issue's discussion. Street Fighter II isn't interesting? Suggesting a potentially controversial topic for next time. This page features the Game I Want to Say Everything About column, where readers submit their thoughts and reviews on games they've been playing. The most discussed game this time is Lunar, the Silver Star. Readers share their excitement after the long wait for its release, praising the beautiful music, especially the opening song, which they find incredibly catchy. They also comment on the sharp graphics and the overall engaging experience, highlighting the satisfying progression and events. One reader specifically calls out Jessica as the best character in Lunar, appreciating her realistic portrayal and charming traits, and finds the ending sequence particularly moving. While some mention minor points like strategic combat depth or character dialogue length, the overall sentiment is highly positive, with one reader even hoping for a sequel to resolve lingering questions. Below the reader letters, the illustration section showcases fan art. These include depictions of characters from games like Arcus, Space Harrier, and Splatterhouse, submitted by readers from across Japan, showing the breadth of games enjoyed by the magazine's audience. This feedback column highlights player opinions on Sega Genesis, Mega Drive games. Readers express excitement and desires. One contributor anticipates Phantasy Star IV but wants a remake of the original. Another criticizes Arcus, finding it disappointing. Fans voice disappointment with Taito's Genesis releases, hoping for better arcade ports. Anticipation surrounds a Galaxy Express 999 game. Lastly, a reader suggests a downtown-themed game. The column also showcases reader-submitted artwork featuring characters from popular games like Lunar, Shining Force, and River City Ransom. This page is the BeepMD reader feedback column, packed with thoughts and questions from Sega Genesis and Sega CD fans. Readers write in about their gaming experiences, purchases, and opinions. One reader excitedly bought a Sega CD and the game YS, declaring it the best. Another regrets missing out on buying Devilish and an obscure title called Mao Renshishi. There's discussion about prioritizing exam studying versus playing games, with one reader asking how to explain their gaming habits to parents. Another asks for advice on whether to buy a Genesis or another console, mentioning the Genesis CPU, Motorola 68000, as a point of interest, despite being a PC user. Lunar, the Silver Star, and Street Fighter II are also mentioned in reader letters. The page also features reader-submitted artwork. One drawing is a fun tribute to Paperboy, showing a character running with a newspaper. Another depicts a samurai-like warrior, and a third features a futuristic character celebrating a game port announcement, likely Street Fighter II given the popularity of ports at the time. The column wraps up by asking readers to suggest themes for a future ranking feature in the magazine. This page continues the BeepMD reader section,
featuring a humorous 4-panel comic strip starring M.D. Kun, the personified Sega Genesis/Mega Drive. The comic touches upon console revivals, mentioning games like Patlabor and the Bandai Mega CD. The magazine also issues corrections for the August issue, noting price errors for Olympic Gold and a spelling mistake for Eric in quiz Beep Go Go. The bulk of the page is dedicated to announcing the many winners of the July issue's Reader Present giveaway, which included Sega Genesis and Game Gear software, t-shirts, posters, and telephone cards, featuring games like the Shining Force series and Thunder Force IV, along with the Wonder Mega Console. Finally, the page provides detailed guidelines for readers wishing to submit their own opinions, game reviews, complaints, illustrations, or comics to the various sections of Beepland. The next page features a big announcement from Sims. They're holding test play events for their new original software, Junkers High, in both Tokyo and Osaka in late August. They're recruiting participants for these events, emphasizing that skilled players and anyone interested in prizes should apply. The page shows screenshots of Junkers High, which looks like a futuristic racing game. Below that is a report on the '92 Tokyo Toy Show, where Sims showcased Junkers High and Quiz Tonosama no Yabu, Quiz Lord's Ambition, at the Sega booth. The reporter notes that while the quiz game was only a non-playable demo, Junkers High was available for play and drew a good crowd. Finally, the Reader Mail Corner features comments and illustrations from fans. One reader asks if someone named Hiruko Osensei from a 4-panel comic is a Sims employee, leading to a humorous anecdote about a staff member getting a nickname. Another reader from Fukuoka sends an illustration featuring characters, and the text mentions comments from a reader in Nagano. This page features a chilling one-shot story from Sims titled The Cursed Motorcycle Commuter Programmer, presented as a true account of a programmer involved in a serious motorcycle accident and the strange, perhaps supernatural, events that followed. The tale describes mysterious sightings and sounds, giving it a spooky vibe for the summer season. Above the story, a manga panel offers a humorous take on Lord's Ambition, likely referencing Sims' own Quiz Lord's Ambition game, featuring characters in a comedic situation related to preparing for war. Below the story, a section introduces this month's questioner, featuring an illustration of the character, Rukahime, who is posing a quiz question. Adjacent to this is the answer section for the Quiz Lord's Ambition 2 quiz from a previous issue, providing the solutions to challenging questions. Finally, Sims News puts out a call for reader mail, inviting everyone to send in postcards with opinions, illustrations, manga, gags, or anything else they'd like to share, emphasizing they welcome all submissions for publication. This page is a fun look behind the scenes at Sonic Software Planning, detailing their very first in-house Street Fighter II tournament held on July 9th amidst the game's nationwide boom. It wasn't just employees. External staff, including a writer from a competing Super Famicom magazine covering Street Fighter II, joined the fray. The rules were straightforward: tournament format, no time limit, and everyone used controllers, not arcade sticks. The page includes photos capturing the lively atmosphere, showing participants posing, playing fiercely, and the final match. The tournament bracket is shown, leading to the exciting conclusion. The grand final was a mirror match between two Chun-Li players, Ohori Shihandai and O.L. Okada. Despite having taken a nap before the event due to game development fatigue, Ohori Shihandai emerged victorious with a straight-set win. The prize for the champion was a Sega Family Driver, a steering wheel controller accessory for racing games. Participation prizes were also handed out, consisting of almond cake and a can of juice, which the text humorously notes. There's also mention of notable participants like Taguchi Tsucho playing as Dalsim, and SoftBank representative Ume, who apparently prefers arcade sticks, and surprisingly lost in the first round despite anticipating a deep run. The article closes by pondering Ume's future work prospects at Sonic after the early exit, teasing that nothing will likely happen. This page explores the limits of hardware in game development, using Street Fighter II as a prime example. It includes a dialogue section, Taguchi Michihiro's Dojo, that touches on various topics. Reader submissions feature illustrated poems and sayings, including a Street Fighter II reference. The Sonic Mania section focuses on fan interaction, promoting a character contest for Shining Force and encouraging fan art submissions. It also announces that Sonic is only hiring experienced developers, regretting the inability to accommodate new graduates. A humorous, amazing prize section is included. The page concludes,
explaining space constraints due to a Street Fighter II feature on the prior page, causing some column omissions. The Sonic hiring situation is restated, and readers are promised more content in the next issue. This page dives into the world of Climax Entertainment, known for their excellent action RPGs. Minoru Naito, a key figure, explains their reluctance towards Clydrom development at the time, pointing to the massive data capacity and the resulting huge increase in development time, humorously projecting decades for a single project. He also mentions the formation of a Climax fan club. The page features screenshots of Landstalker, the treasures of King Knuckle, and includes a production report from Master Ohori, detailing the game's development. Ohori describes the intensive map design process, highlighting the surprising number of maps required for Landstalker, originally planned for 250, now aiming for 520, and the team's workflow. A short, humorous note from Ohori details his personal coping mechanism for development stress.
Slot machines, complete with a balance report.
Photos show Naito and the development team at work.
This page introduces you to some of the faces behind the games, specifically from Climax Entertainment. It features profiles of 2 key staff members involved in Landstalkers, the treasures of King Knuckle. First is Ryushiro Miyazaki, who previously worked as an anime director before transitioning to game development through arcades. He applied his talents extensively on Landstalker, and is 28 years old with hobbies including music and film. Next is Yoichiro Hirashita, also hailing from the anime industry. Despite his youth at 22, he shows considerable talent, having been responsible for the intricate map graphics in Landstalker. He's a big game fan, even dropping a bonus on a Street Fighter II arcade board. Elsewhere on the page, there are humorous comic strips by Tamago Go, featuring the recurring skeletal character. A new serialized science fiction novel, titled Spaceship Story, kicks off, though the text is a bit small. An excerpt gives a taste of the narrative, focusing on space travel preparations and training camps. The climax section reveals the pressure cooker environment, as the deadline for Landstalker is in the final countdown phase. It's described as the toughest month, and readers are encouraged to send in letters and illustrations to support the hard-working staff. Finally, there's some reader art, including a curious drawing seemingly linking programming with a pig or penguin-like character. This page serves as a mail-order catalog from Santa, a Sega specialty store. It features their top recommendations for new releases from July through September, including the highly anticipated Landstalker, which is listed among their best 10, along with Sega Super Monaco GP2, Thunder Force IV, Splatterhouse 2, Glaylancer, and David Robinson Basketball. The store offers a vast lineup of MegaDrive software, detailing prices for a wide range of titles spanning various genres. Additionally, they list available hardware such as the MegaDrive console itself and various peripherals. Fans of older systems can find Master System games, including both Japanese and imported European/American versions, and there is also Game Gear hardware available. The page provides practical details on how to place orders via phone or mail, delivery options, associated fees, and notes that prices include tax. They emphasize calling ahead to confirm stock and current pricing for desired items. This page features the highly anticipated Landstalker, the King's Treasure. Building on the previous month's introduction, it's highlighted as the first game in this Mega Hot Menu Part 2 section. Published by Sega and developed by Climax, this action RPG is slated for a September release on a large 16 megabit cartridge plus battery backup, currently showing a 70% completion rate. The feature emphasizes that gameplay isn't just about swinging your sword, but requires significant strategy, focusing on the treasure hunting adventure of the protagonists, Lyle and Friday. Screenshots showcase various environments, including outdoor areas, interiors, and dungeons, along with examples of the isometric combat and dialogue system, noted as still under development. The article delves into the game's world, map design, story points, and details about enemy encounters, promising a deep dive into what players can expect. A sidebar acts as a table of contents for this part, listing other games covered including a Kunio-kun soccer title, Shura no Mon, Rampart, Side Pocket, and Vixen 357. This page continues the in-depth look at Landstalker, the King's Treasure, highlighting even more interactive possibilities within its isometric world. Building on the previous feature, it emphasizes that the game isn't just about combat, but allows for surprising actions like standing on structures, jumping from heights, and even humorously standing on other characters' heads, showcasing a depth of interaction uncommon for the time. A key gameplay mechanic detailed here is the use of objects like pots, Screenshots demonstrate Lyle picking up, carrying, and throwing pots. The article explains, these items can be used not only as projectiles, but potentially for puzzles, or even as makeshift steps. The page also breaks down the game's user interface, explaining the on-screen display, HUD. It shows how vital information, like magic energy, health, represented by small, medium, and large heart containers, item counts, like recovery items, and gold coins are clearly presented. It notes the clever health system where smaller hearts combine into larger ones, and how maximum health increases as you progress. Finally, the controls are shown to be remarkably simple. Despite the range of actions, the game relies primarily on just 3 buttons, A and C for actions, like attacking, and B for jumping or canceling. This keeps the gameplay accessible while allowing for complex interactions. Screenshots illustrate these mechanics, and the clear visual feedback provided by the HUD. This page continues our dive into the fantastic world of Landstalker, the King's Treasure, specifically focusing on the depth added by its isometric view. It explains how the game leverages height, allowing for fun challenges despite Lyle's limited jump ability. You'll need to get creative, sometimes stacking objects or even characters to reach higher platforms, which is a really cool interactive element. The perspective also cleverly hides paths and items, encouraging thorough exploration of every nook and cranny, including climbing vines or ladders hidden behind terrain. The page also features insights from President Naito, who shares that the game's massive map is nearly complete. He touches on the challenging traps and hidden areas, but reassures players that while 100% completion offers extra rewards, it's not required to see the ending, balancing accessibility with depth. This page delves further into the expansive world of Landstalker, the King's Treasure, focusing on how its myriad maps connect. The article explains that the game's world is constructed from nearly 700 individual map sections, seamlessly linked together. Horizontal connections are made via visible flaps, referred to as barrow, while vertical transitions occur by moving in the direction indicated by arrows. Despite the isometric view, the game treats these map connections as if they were on a flat plane, making navigation intuitive. The developers have ensured incredible variety across these maps. Lyle will explore everything from vast open fields and dense forests to bustling towns, quaint villages, imposing castles, and mysterious caves. Each map section is distinct, featuring unique terrain, objects, and layouts, promising a rich and diverse adventure. The sheer quantity and variety of locations underscore the depth of the world awaiting exploration. Landstalker, the King's Treasure features a meticulously designed world, emphasizing complex environments. The complex forest world aims for genuine exploration, challenging players with intricate layouts and the potential to get lost, setting itself apart from simpler forest designs. The game also presents diverse map styles, from bustling towns to self-sufficient communities, highlighting a variety of settings. The article includes an interview with a developer responsible for creating the maps, which will comprise approximately 700 interconnected sections. They discuss the labor-intensive process of hand-placing enemies and traps. Furthermore, they reveal that enemy AI is designed to react to player timing, similar to fighting games. The developer expresses pride in the final product and encourages players to experience the game. This page delves deeper into Landstalker, the King's Treasure. It outlines the game's main objective: finding the legendary treasure of King Knoll, hidden on Mercator Island, the primary setting for the adventure. The featured characters are the protagonist, Lyle, a forest elf treasure hunter, and Friday, a young succubus who travels with him, often hidden in his backpack. While Lyle's name is fixed, the article also hints at other important characters who will frequently interact with Lyle, including rival treasure hunters, Kayla, Zwam, and Goose. Noting more details about their encounters will be on a later page. The world map is also introduced, showing the continent divided into 3 distinct countries: the agricultural Maple Kingdom, the scholarly Rantoral Kingdom, and the militaristic Gamel Kingdom. The story mentions that the Gamel Emperor is seeking King Knuckle's treasure as part of his expansionist ambitions, setting up the political backdrop for the quest. The game promises a rich world with intriguing characters and a clear goal. This page presents Mercator Island, the primary setting for Landstalker, the King's Treasure, with a detailed map illustrating key locations such as the Dwarf Village, Native Villages, Barra Town, Mercator Town, Mills Tower, the Swamp Shrine, and the Port Town. The page also highlights the various characters Lyle and Friday will encounter during their quest for King Knuckle's treasure. This includes a mysterious trio of rival treasure hunters, Kayla, Zwam, and Goose. Their motives are unclear, but they relentlessly pursue Friday and seem to be controlled by Kayla, constantly interfering with Lyle's progress. Also introduced is the Mercator Duke, appointed to the island by Emperor Gamel, who harbors hidden ambitions and is not content with his posting. Below this, director Org Gamo discusses the scenario development process for Landstalker. He mentions using a manga as a starting point and incorporating numerous ideas. The approach prioritizes gameplay fun first, building dungeons and gimmicks, and then fitting the scenario around them, which he notes is a unique method for an RPG. The protagonist, Lyle, was initially conceived as a reckless adventurer, and his personality was emphasized due to the game's action focus. This page is part of the Mega Hot Menu section and delves deeper into Landstalker, the King's Treasure, focusing on its combat and character design. The article highlights that the enemies on Mercator Island are unique and aggressive, immediately attacking when spotted. It emphasizes that just swinging your sword isn't sufficient. Unlike traditional RPGs, health increases by finding hearts in events and dungeons, while attack power is boosted by purchasing better swords. The combat requires practice, as enemies are smart, and not every fight is necessary. A series of screenshots illustrates the action, showing Lyle engaging a mushroom-like enemy, demonstrating the steps from drawing his sword to delivering a powerful blow. The page also features an interview with the character designer, Tamaki-sensei, who previously worked on the Shining series. He discusses designing the characters for Landstalkers, noting they have a similar feel to Shining and the Darkness. He mentions creating Friar, the character responsible for HP recovery, in consultation with the director. Tamaki also talks about designing the rival female character, likely Kayla, and her companions, Zwam and Goose, humorously noting how the companions ended up resembling villains from the anime Time Bokan. He concludes by highlighting the detailed character movements and animation due to the game's action focus. An illustration of Zwam, one of the Skullmasked rivals, is also shown. This page features a bestiary from the classic action RPG Landstalker, The Treasures of King Noel. It provides illustrated entries for many of the creatures you'll encounter on Mercator Island. You'll find descriptions of common foes like orc soldiers, slimes, skeletons, lizardmen, and plant-like mushbooms, detailing their habits and abilities. More unique monsters are also included, such as the Moncorn Troopers, the Flying Stinks, the Mummified Larva, Spectral Glow Ghosts, the Formidable Hangman, the Giant Insect Raven Shadow, the Cycloptic Monotai, and the Mysterious Chaos Visitor. Each entry gives a brief overview of where they live and how they behave. At the bottom, a message from the developers reflects on the game's development, hinting at the complexity involved in adding a third dimension, comparing it to stepping up from calculating area to calculating volume. This page features a prologue story for the classic action RPG, Landstalker, The King's Valley. It follows the treasure hunter Lyle as he arrives in the town of Masan, drawn by a peculiar sense about King Noel's hidden treasure. The story introduces Lyle's unique ability to sense treasure locations and his reasons for adventuring. It describes his encounter with a strange shop owner and an unusual fruit, which leads to a confrontation with a peculiar trio, a young woman, a thin man, and a round man, who demand the fruit. The page includes character illustrations of Lyle, the shop owner, and the strange trio, setting the stage for the adventure to come in the game. The next page continues the exciting prologue to Landstalker, The King's Valley. Cornered by the strange trio, the treasure hunter Lyle is startled by a voice emanating from his bag urging him to escape. Initially defiant, Lyle is convinced when the voice reveals it possesses knowledge of King Noel's treasure. Using his agility, Lyle makes a quick getaway, knocking over wagons and hiding in an alley while the frustrated trio passes by. Lyle then opens his bag to discover Flick, a small winged sprite, is the source of the voice. Flick offers Lyle a deal. She knows about the treasure and will help him find it if he takes her to Mercator Island. Lyle, eager for the treasure, agrees. They encounter a massive bird named Deltrit 2i, who agrees to transport them for a fee. With Flick perched on his shoulder, Lyle rides off on Deltrit 2i towards Mercator Island, leaving the irate trio far behind. The page is accompanied by dynamic illustrations of Lyle, Flick, and Deltrit 2i in flight. This page previews Maten no Sumetsu, an RPG scheduled for release in October on the Sega Mega CD, published by Kodansha Soken. The artwork features a dramatic, ornate frame surrounding a scene depicting a red-winged creature facing a figure in a white robe against a dark, crumbling background. The accompanying text provides a narrative synopsis. It tells the story of Zafan Wanlo, a captain who finds and adopts a mysterious baby with angelic wings, naming him Algranus. 16 years later, monsters appear, plunging the world into chaos. After Zafan is mortally wounded, Alcanus inherits his will and embarks on a journey to uncover the truth and confront his destiny, meeting allies along the way. The game is confirmed to use an 8 mega room cartridge and includes battery backup for saving progress. The price is listed as undecided at this point in development. This page presents a dramatic splash image, framed by ornate gold and black scrollwork dotted with blue gems. Inside the frame, a red-haired hero named Arunas stands beside a spectral winged creature, facing a backdrop of chaotic rock and debris. Looming large in the background is a menacing, shadowy figure with piercing yellow eyes. The text running vertically down the right side delivers a stark question. Arunas, who is the shadow standing behind you? This artwork and text serve as a compelling introduction to the game Crystallis, known as Final Evolution in Japan. The scene likely depicts Arunas, the protagonist, alongside the Windman magic form, confronting a powerful enemy like Dragon. The page effectively uses the dramatic visual and text to create a sense of mystery and impending danger, drawing the reader into the game's fantasy world. This page dives into Neketsu High School Dodgeball Club Soccer Edition for the Mega Drive, part of the beloved Kunio-kun series known internationally for games like River City Ransom. It's presented as a 100% complete port of the popular game from the NES/Famicom. The review is overwhelmingly positive, calling it not just a simple port but a super port. It highlights the game's action-heavy gameplay and the successful preservation of the unique character atmosphere and special shots from the original. A key difference noted is the introduction of a spirit charging system for executing special shots, a departure from the simpler controls on the NES. This new mechanic adds depth and excitement to matches, making even games against the computer feel intense and visually impressive as characters power up for their moves. The page showcases the diverse range of offensive maneuvers available, including overhead kicks, sliding tackles, unique special shots like the Mega Buster in Sonic's, and even special heading and dribbling techniques, all illustrating the game's varied action. While praising the port quality, the reviewer points out one regrettable aspect. Unlike the NES version, which supported up to 4 players with an adapter, the Mega Drive version is limited to 2-player simultaneous play. Despite this, the page strongly recommends the game as a fantastic and faithful adaptation. Neketsu High School Dodgeball Club Soccer Edition features strategic gameplay centered on special shots. Each player boasts a unique shot, offering diverse offensive options like the Shakutori shoot and Pika Pika Shoot. The game's tournament mode pits players against rival teams, each with distinct characteristics. Yushuin Fuzoku High School uses shape-shifting shots. Shichifuku Gakuen excels in recovery. Shiguma High School is aggressive, and Matagi Gakuen relies on strength. The Mega Drive version adds new features like player stats, stamina, and keeper mechanics, making matches more dynamic. These additions, along with the diverse personalities and voice samples, create a more chaotic and engaging experience. The ultimate goal is to win the tournament, incentivized by a reward from manager Misako. This page dives into the Sega Mega Drive game Shura no Mon, based on the popular manga series. It's a fighting game with SLG elements, putting you in the shoes of Mutsutsukumo, successor to the ancient Mutsu and Meryu style, as he faces opponents from the Shinbukan Karate School. The feature acts as a walkthrough or strategy guide for the initial rounds. It details how to approach the first 4 fights against Shinbukan fighters, like Kimura, Izumi Toshihiko, Jinrai Hiroshi, and Kaido Akira. The guide provides tips on understanding the game's mechanics, such as how taking hits builds up fighting spirit for stronger moves, and specific strategies for each opponent, focusing on blocking, timing, and using particular techniques like Kogetsu or Kohao. Screenshots showcase the game's sprite-based combat, character portraits, and key moments illustrating the strategic advice. The guide emphasizes that the game's combat requires careful observation and execution of techniques based on the opponent's actions and messages that appear on screen. It highlights the importance of reading the opponent and exploiting openings, making victory feel earned rather than simply mashing buttons. The overall tone is informative, preparing players for the challenges ahead in maintaining the Mutsu style's undefeated history. The next page continues the strategy guide for Shura no Mon, moving into the later rounds of the tournament. This section covers opponents from round 5 through to the final battle. You'll face Takeyumi Naoto,
a powerful kickboxer known for his devastating roundhouse kicks. Then Hayama Satoru, a shootboxer who fights without gloves, requiring you to avoid throws and use counter techniques like shikan and jigakuzan. Round 7 pits you against Tobita Takaaki, a large but slow pro wrestler who relies on power and joint locks, where managing distance and using float or blocks is key, along with specific counters like Hiratsubame Jumanji and Koko. Finally, Round 8 introduces Katayama Motokyo, a genius from the Kirukan school, whose unpredictable style and powerful Botsutu Shao technique demand careful blocking and survival, focusing on using Koko and Ryuha while anticipating to Ryuha's evolving tactics in the final battle. Screenshots throughout illustrate key moments and techniques like Jigakuzan, Shikan, Koko, and Botsutu Shao, showing the diverse fighting styles you'll encounter. The guide emphasizes observing your opponent, managing distance, and wisely using your fighting spirit for powerful counterattacks. A final message from the developers provides a crucial tip for the final battle, stressing that Tajeha's approach changes based on your actions, specifically if you block his attacks, making careful defense paramount. The next page features a preview of Rampart, the action, puzzle, and simulation hybrid game ported from the 1991 arcade hit. Published by Tengen, the Mega Drive version is listed as 90% complete and supports 2-player battles, promising intense gameplay that will make your hands sweat gripping the controller. The game blends castle defense with strategic artillery combat and a unique puzzle element for repairing your walls. You'll engage in fierce artillery battles against enemy ships, then piece together random blocks like a puzzle game to mend any damage. The page highlights screenshots showing the artillery combat, the block-laying puzzle mechanic, and the overall strategic map. Rampart is played out over turns, each divided into 3 distinct phases: placing turrets, engaging in the artillery battle, and finally, repairing your castle walls. Screenshots walk you through each phase, from setting up your defenses to the crucial wall repair stage, which is described as the most tense part of the game. The page also details the 3 types of enemy battleships that will attack your castle. There are brown, black, and red battleships, each with different durability and attack methods. The article provides tips on which enemy ships to prioritize based on the situation, suggesting sinking the black ships carrying landing troops first, and targeting the brown ships, which require fewer hits when the enemy fleet is large. The page notes that the screenshots shown are from the English version of the game. This page continues the look at Rampart, focusing on winning strategies and the thrill of versus mode. The article emphasizes that the key to victory is the speed of wall repair, noting that the 22-second repair time in normal mode is surprisingly short, and failing to completely close the gaps results in a game over. It advises players to prioritize quick repairs to maximize the time available for strategic actions. Tips include surrounding nearby castles to increase the number of gun turrets and encircling landed enemy artillery to eliminate them by placing blocks around them. The page highlights that the true excitement of Rampart lies in versus mode. While single player is enjoyable, competitive play is said to be 10 times better. In versus mode, the focus shifts to expanding your territory to build more turrets and using overwhelming firepower to destroy the opponent's walls, making it impossible for them to keep up with repairs. There's a tense push and pull as players balance aggressive expansion with the crucial task of wall repair. The page includes screenshots illustrating game over conditions and player victory/defeat screens, as well as a rather graphic illustration of a guillotine, seemingly depicting the consequence of defeat. A comment from the manufacturer describes Rampart as a revolutionary game system offering explosive battles, promising excitement for both young players and curious adults. This page dives into the world of pool with the Mega Drive release of Side Pocket. Presented as the definitive version of the popular billiard game, it arrives boasting 100% completion for the console and includes 2-player versus play, a crucial feature for any competitive game. The article highlights that the game offers a total of 5 modes, including a jukebox to listen to the background music, and 4 distinct gameplay styles. The main attraction is the Tour mode, where you travel across 5 major American cities, starting in Los Angeles and visiting Las Vegas, San Francisco, New York, and Atlantic City, earning points and clearing stages along the way. The review notes that the game doesn't just look the part with its realistic billiard table graphics and vibrant city visuals during transitions, but it also sounds great, particularly praising the sound effects of the balls falling into the pockets. The appearance of the female characters is also mentioned as a notable visual element. While the game can be challenging, requiring strategic thinking like pocketing balls in numerical order and mastering trick shots, the article suggests the difficulty adds to the enjoyment and guarantees you'll get hooked. It recommends practicing in the trick game mode to improve your skills for the main tour. This page delves deeper into the gameplay mechanics and modes of side pocket on the Mega Drive. It emphasizes that mastering the cue ball strike is paramount, illustrating how different points of impact result in follow, draw, side spin, and mass shots, crucial for strategic play. Beyond basic control, the article highlights the importance of special features like bonus pockets, marked with stars or zones, which offer rewards such as extra points, additional cue balls, or access to challenging trick shots. It also introduces the Super Ball, hitting, which sends the cue ball wildly across the table, potentially sinking multiple object balls quickly. The page also covers the robust versus mode, confirming two variations, a standard pocket game and the popular 9-ball mode, allowing players to enjoy competitive pool right at home. Finally, the trick game mode is showcased as a series of 19 brain-teasing puzzles, where players must pocket specific balls in a single shot, some even involving obstacles like breakable wine glasses that must be avoided. The developer adds that Side Pocket is considered a masterpiece among TV games. This page dives into Vixen 357, a story-focused SF simulation heading to the Mega Drive this October from Messiah. The game is currently 80% complete and exclusively for one player. The narrative kicks off in AD 2396, in a world reshaped after a war with aliens, where high-mobility robot systems called vectors were developed by various nations. The protagonist, Takuya Murasawa, finds himself embroiled in conflict when mysterious vectors appear near his base. Gameplay involves tactical command of these vectors across 16 scenarios, with the progression and objectives changing as you clear each stage. Players familiar with Messiah's Langrisser series will find the system quite intuitive. The article highlights the compelling robot battles, distinct character interactions, and balanced gameplay flow. Featured characters include the hot-blooded protagonist Takuya Murasawa, the cheerful Nina Lowry, the veteran Ben Busk, and the energetic Chi Won,
hinting at a diverse and engaging cast that evolves as the story unfolds.
This page continues the deep dive into Vixen 357, highlighting what the game considers its two main draws: spectacular animated battle sequences and conversation scenes that reveal the characters' personalities. The game features over 40 distinct unit types, including the robotic vectors and their transport vessels. During battles, these units are rendered with large, impactful graphics and dynamic animations. Combat itself is primarily divided into melee and ranged attacks, with various weapon types and vector units specializing in different combat styles or environments, like amphibious or aerial. Adding depth to the strategic gameplay are frequent conversation scenes. These discussions occur at key moments, and even during scenarios, exploring the relationships and personalities of the diverse cast, making the game world more engaging. The basic game flow involves a prologue setting the stage, followed by conversation segments and a turn-based structure. Players issue commands to their units during their turn, while the enemy takes action on theirs. Successfully clearing a scenario allows you to save progress and advance. Be warned, the death of the protagonist, Takuya Murasawa, will result in a game over. Featured alongside the protagonist are key members of the cast, including the sharpshooting Macbillion, the talented but tough Reiko Machida, the logical and dependable Hurry Gibson, and the kind exathlete mechanic Edie Ray, whose interactions drive the narrative. This page delves further into the strategic gameplay of Vixen 357, illustrating the different types of units, the impact of terrain, and the commands players will use. The page showcases key unit types, including the base, which can repair damaged units but causes game over if destroyed, your own forces, the Slash Squad, led by the player, friendly NPC units, which act independently, standard enemy units, often the objective is their annihilation, and powerful boss units that appear in most scenarios. The map display highlights the importance of terrain, such as mountains and rivers, which affect defense rates and must be considered when moving units. Various commands are available during your turn. The core commands include move to position units, movement range depends on terrain and unit type, information to view unit data, and deploy/special, which includes deployment from the base or specific unit abilities. Combat commands are split into melee attack for close-range fighting and ranged attack for distance engagements. Other commands allow units to return to base for loading, repair, or receive resupply when adjacent to the base. A final note from the developers emphasizes that Vixen 357 is different from typical simulations,
featuring over 40 types of mechs, animated battles, and events that develop the story and characters. This page delves into the connections between the game's Steel Empire and the literary genres of steampunk and cyberpunk. The author reminisces about Steel Empire, a horizontally scrolling shooter from Hot B, highlighting its unique forward/backward shooting mechanic and its well-realized world, featuring bird-like aircraft and airships, evoking visuals similar to Laputa, Castle in the Sky. The discussion then shifts to cyberpunk and steampunk, introducing pioneering authors like William Gibson, Bruce Sterling, Tim Powers, James Page Blaylock, and K.W. Jeter. Notably, Gibson and Sterling co-authored The Difference Engine, considered a key steampunk novel, which is featured alongside Tim Powers' The Anubis Gates, with their respective book covers. The Difference Engine is described as a story set in a 19th century London, powered by steam computers, blending steampunk aesthetics with cyberpunk themes. Connecting back to the game, the author suggests that Steel Empire, despite its near-future setting with echoes of a dictatorial regime, captures the essence of steampunk, perhaps best described as steelpunk. They note the game's theme, particularly the march-like music, contributes to this unique atmosphere, making it a fascinating example of the genre in gaming. This page is a full-page advertisement and catalog from the retailer GameBank, listing prices for Super Famicom and Super Xedrom Squared games and detailing how to place mail orders. This page is another extensive advertisement and catalog from GameBank, this time focusing on the Sega Mega Drive and Mega CD systems. It prominently features a special limited-time price for a Mega Drive console, bundled with the iconic Sonic the Hedgehog. The core of the page is a comprehensive list of Mega Drive and Mega CD software titles available for purchase, detailing their prices, similar to the Super Famicom list seen previously. The ad also promotes their telephone information service, described as a valuable source for game details, release information, and even running a quiz contest to win software. This page presents a press story article for the Sega Mega Drive horizontal shooter, Crying, Aseme Sensu, known as Crying internationally, titled, Development Code No 1212X Pre-Story Sublife War. This is presented as the final chapter of the background lore. The article details the outbreak of a biohazard on the planet Avalon due to a retrovirus, causing the ecosystem to collapse and altering even human bodies. The protagonist, James Takagawa, is struggling to investigate the cause and prevent Avalon from becoming a dead planet. Despite working tirelessly, he is forced to rest by his staff. The biohazard intensifies, with mutated life forms emerging from development facilities and multiplying. Efforts to contain them fail, and a mission to investigate ends abruptly. The viruses begin to alter local flora and fauna, becoming aggressive and attacking vehicles. Strange, non-uniform life forms break through the city's boundaries, paralyzing transport systems and causing panic among residents, raising fears of human infection. James's rest is cut short by an emergency call. Accompanying the text are several screenshots, showcasing the game's intense horizontal shooter gameplay, featuring biological enemy designs and environments, along with score displays. The article provides a grim setup for the game's premise, highlighting the desperate situation James faces. This page concludes the intense press story for the horizontal shooter Crying, Aseme Sensu, known internationally simply as Crying. The biohazard situation on Avalon escalates rapidly, with the mutated virus causing unprecedented transformations. James is alerted to the first human fatality, a migrant worker whose face is completely altered. Panic spreads through the residential areas as heavily mutated humans become aggressive. Investigations reveal strange, non-uniform life forms infesting corpses, leading to difficult decisions about handling remains. The city is plunged into suspicion and distrust. Meanwhile, unusual aerial phenomena are observed by the control center staff, identified as unconfirmed flying objects attacking the invading creatures in the city. James, watching these events, recognizes one of these entities as a creation of his late father, an ultimate biological weapon. He observes this entity, which is himself the biofighter, battling a large monster. The narrative then shifts to the player, stating that the story will unfold according to the stage structure within the game. Players will pilot the ultimate biological weapon developed by Ernest Takagawa, James, and immerse themselves in the world of C-Ring. This serves as a direct lead-in, transitioning from the grim backstory into the gameplay experience. The page concludes with the emphatic title, And now, Biofighter Launch.
This page features a column by Jam Oji-san discussing the state of the TV game market, specifically focusing on the Sega Mega Drive, which he believes is in danger. This is part 5 of his Chase series, advocating for stronger third-party support and unique software strategies. The author feels that Sega's software lineup is losing its individuality. While recent titles like Lunar on the Mega CD show promise and bring vitality, the overall market trend indicates the Mega Drive is slowly losing ground to the Super Famicom. Jam Oji-san contrasts this with the past, a few years prior, when, despite fewer titles and some lower-quality games, the Mega Drive had distinct software, particularly timely arcade ports like Ghouls, Ghosts, Strider, and Columns, which stood out. He argues that to compete, Sega needs more than just high-quality games. They need software that offers unique experiences, only found on the Mega Drive. This requires strengthening ties with arcade port developers like Data East and Taito, and also supporting capable PC game developers like Nihon Falcom and Gainax to bring their unique styles to the platform, perhaps leveraging the Mega CD. The screenshots on the page showcase some of these games, including Strider, Ghouls, Ghosts, Columns, and newer titles like Landstalker, and one related to the DAP system, possibly Merry-Go-Round. The author stresses that without a distinct software identity, it will be difficult to counter the increasing dominance of the Super Famicom. This page features Sega Falcom Communication Act. 11. Delving into the collaboration between Sega and Nihon Falcom. The SF Hotline section includes messages from fans eager for Nihon Falcom PC games to be ported to Sega platforms, particularly the Mega CD. Fans specifically request titles like Sorcerian and Popplemail, with illustrations of characters from series like Dragon Slayer accompanying the messages, showing strong desire for these IPs on Sega hardware. The main content is a column by Kazutaka Yano, listed as a Sega Falcom director. He provides insight into the challenges of developing games for Creedrom, like the Mega CD, while acknowledging the potential for richer experiences with large amounts of data, long intros, extensive characters, and high-quality audio. He stresses the significant hurdles. These include high development costs despite low media production costs, the technical difficulties of data compression and slow loading times, and the requirement for players to own the Creedrom hardware. He notes that while Creedrom games can offer a higher level of quality than cartridges, the complexity creates a notable gap between developers and the technical realities, explaining some of the difficulties in bringing ambitious projects to market. This column directly addresses the viability of bringing Falcom's complex PC titles to Sega, which was a key point on the previous page. This page features a column by Eric C. Sedensky, titled Eric's Hobby Streak, where he shares his experiences with gaming. In this installment, titled Captivating Game Experience Log X.3, I want to talk to Mega CD soon. Eric recounts his first encounter with Creedrom gaming through the title Spaceship Warlock on a Macintosh. He describes it as an innovative, interactive movie, highlighting the ability to converse with characters, make choices, and influence the story. He found the game so compelling that he invested in a Creedrom drive specifically for his computer. Having experienced the potential of the format with Warlock, Eric later turned his attention to the Mega CD. He notes that while the Mega CD offers Creedrom capabilities, he feels the current software lineup hasn't fully capitalized on the medium, particularly in areas like graphics and sound quality, comparing them unfavorably to his experience with Warlock. He advocates for Mega CD developers to study games like Spaceship Warlock to realize the full potential of the platform. A screenshot showing the title Warlock is included. The page also includes a small section discussing interactive movies as a recommended first experience with the Creedrom format. This page features the final installment of the Adventurer's Exciting Story column, focusing on Alexander Jones, the long-suffering protagonist from the sci-fi novel series The Ship Who Paid. Jones is an Earth ambassador assigned to the remote planet Torka, inhabited by the bizarre Torkins, who are described as unique space aliens resembling plush teddy bears. Despite being a simple space patrolman, Jones is thrust into constant, chaotic adventures, as the Torkins inadvertently drag him into scenarios straight out of pirate tales, detective stories, and historical conflicts. He's depicted as an unfortunate soul, constantly trying to manage the Torkins' antics, while they see him as a helpful, almost Ultraman-like figure. The article includes a profile for Jones, detailing his personality and origin. This column concludes by bidding farewell, leaving Jones to continue his wild, troublesome adventures across the cosmos. This page asks the question, where is the Mega Drive going? It discusses the current state of the Mega Drive game lineup, noting user feedback that there's a lack of must-have games and a feeling that recent software lacks the power of earlier titles. The article contrasts the current situation with the excitement of the previous year, highlighting the massive impact of games like Sonic the Hedgehog. A key feature is a positioning map plotting anticipated MD software based on general expectation versus mania expectation, showing a potential shift or imbalance in the type of games users are looking forward to compared to the previous year. Games on the map include titles like Landstalker, Streets of Rage, Thunder Force IV, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Shining Force 2, and Street Fighter 2 Special Champion Edition. The article suggests that while blockbuster titles are welcome, the platform needs a balanced lineup, focusing only on major hits to a baseball game where only home runs are attempted, ultimately making it less exciting. It includes a screenshot from the popular beat 'em up, Streets of Rage. Overall, the page reflects a concern among users and the magazine about the perceived dip in the Mega Drive's momentum and the appeal of its recent and upcoming game releases.
This page continues the discussion on the state of the Mega Drive, focusing on user perspective. It opens with a poll asking if users around you have lost interest in Mega Drive games, with 41.4% saying yes. The primary reasons cited for this decline are high software prices, repetitive game content, and finding other activities or consoles to occupy their time. The article suggests that the market still holds potential, but the current software lineup may not be effectively appealing to users. A reader survey presents ideas on how to make the Mega Drive and its CD attachment more mainstream. Key suggestions include improving game quality, lowering software prices, making hardware and software more readily available in stores, increasing advertising and promotion, and shedding the image of being a niche console for enthusiasts. The piece concludes by arguing that Sega should focus on what users genuinely want right now, like delivering one solid, fun game, rather than relying solely on big, anticipated titles planned for the future. Screenshots on the page include what appears to be a naval strategy game and a metaphorical image possibly related to new developments or ideas. This page details a reader survey postcard, showing how to fill it out, and listing the questions asked to the readers. The survey aims to gather feedback on reader demographics, gaming habits, other interests, and most importantly, what upcoming games they are looking forward to. Questions cover gender, age, occupation, the number of Mega Drive games owned, other game magazines read, interests outside of gaming, which consoles and systems the reader owns, including Mega Drive, NES, TurboGrafx-16, Super Famicom, Neo Geo, Game Boy, Game Gear, Mega CD, and various Japanese PC platforms, and specific articles within the magazine the reader liked or disliked. A significant part is question 10, asking the reader to pick one upcoming game they most want to buy from a long list of titles, providing valuable insight into user demand for future releases. This directly supports the editorial team's goal, highlighted on the previous page, of understanding what users truly desire to revitalize interest in the Mega Drive platform. This page features a special feature on game series, prominently highlighting Sonic the Hedgehog 2 as Sega's major release scheduled for December 1992. The main artwork shows Sonic and his new sidekick, Tails. The article discusses the Sonic series' crucial role in Sega's success, particularly its intense rivalry with Nintendo in the American market. Sonic 2 is presented as a significant evolution from the first game, developed over a year, with all aspects scaled up. The page includes various screenshots, showcasing gameplay from Sonic 2, as well as mentioning and showing images related to Sonic 2 releases on Sega CD and Game Gear. The reviewer notes that Sonic's design in Sonic 2 features a cuter face compared to the original. Information for this feature was apparently coordinated with international gaming media, like Electronic Gaming Monthly. The page is visually dynamic, with the large The Series title overlaid on screenshots from various game genres, hinting at the breadth of games potentially covered under the series theme. This page features a significant update on Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The article confirms that the development team for Sonic 2 is the same highly skilled group responsible for the first game, the Sonic team. Interestingly, development is noted to be taking place in America, aligning with Sega's strategy to cater to the crucial U.S. market. The page reveals a massive increase in the game's scope, with the room size doubling from 4 megabits in the first game to 8 megabits. This leads to a dramatic increase in the number of stages, potentially reaching 35, compared to Sonic 1's 18. One of the most exciting reveals is a potential new ability for Sonic, time travel. By reaching warp Sonic speed, Sonic may gain the power to travel through time,
visiting eras from a dinosaur-age swamp to a polluted future city, although the specifics remain unclear. The game is also confirmed to have an even higher top speed than the already incredibly fast Sonic one, and new attack methods like the corkscrew loop and the introduction of Tails as a sidekick are mentioned. Screenshots showcase gameplay from zones like the vibrant Emerald Hill Zone, highlighting loops and new visual elements. A comparative screenshot of Green Hill Zone from Sonic 1 is also included. The page reinforces that Sonic 2 is a substantial evolution, pushing the boundaries of speed and gameplay. This page provides a detailed look at Sonic the Hedgehog 2, confirming the introduction of Tails as a new playable character and partner to Sonic. This edition enables simultaneous two-player gameplay, with players controlling Sonic and Tails independently. The article also touches upon the renewed efforts of Dr. Robotnik, highlighting his determination to defeat Sonic with a new robot army and a potentially more dangerous plan compared to his easily thwarted efforts in the first game. An interview with the Sega development staff confirms the project is being handled by the core Sonic team working in America, emphasizing the game's expanded scope with an 8-megabit room and aiming for a worldwide simultaneous release tied to a special Tuesday event near the end of the year for the Christmas season. The developers stress that this is a major production building upon the original success. The page also features images of Sonic-themed pins being distributed in Europe, showcasing the game's international appeal. This page presents a feature on Phantasy Star IV, scheduled for release in 1993. It builds excitement for the next installment, stating it will revive the series' emotional impact and is set to be a masterpiece from Sega. The article teases the return of the evil god, Dark Force, and poses questions about the fate of the Algol star system. Phantasy Star IV is described as a potential complete edition, tying the series together, taking place between the events of Phantasy Star II and 2I, specifically in the year AW 2284, some 1942 years after the original game. The page also provides concise summaries of the first three Phantasy Star games, highlighting their key features and stories, such as the 3D dungeons and journey of Ecletus in Phantasy Star I, the epic scale and emotional characters in Phantasy Star II, and the multi-generational story with branching paths based on marriage choices in Phantasy Star II-I. The feature is accompanied by character artwork for Phantasy Star IV and screenshots from the previous games, showcasing the evolution of the series. This page dives into anticipation for Phantasy Star IV, sharing user hopes and developer insights. The user voice section lists fan requests like the return of beloved past characters, fully animated battles reminiscent of Phantasy Star II, a single protagonist throughout the game unlike Phantasy Star II's generation system, and story connections to earlier events and locations in the Algol system. Fans also hoped for better readability with kanji and preferable 3D dungeons over confusing mazes. The developer interview features key staff discussing the project's direction. They confirm Phantasy Star IV directly connects to the lore and setting of Phantasy Star I, and 2, seeing 2I more as a side story. The goal is to clarify mysteries from the series and create a visually engaging RPG experience building on previous titles. Development is progressing with the basic direction set, focusing on refining systems and enhancing animated battle scenes like those in Phantasy Star II. The game is planned for a room release, though the final size is still being determined. Accompanying the text is striking artwork of a winged creature and a screenshot from Phantasy Star II depicting the poignant battle between Nui and Nui First. This page is a feature on Streets of Rage 2, highlighting its significant upgrade from the first game. It boasts a 4-fold increase in room size to 16 megabits, allowing for larger character sprites, improved animation, and a wider variety of enemies and moves. The roster expands from 3 to 4 playable characters, with the returning Axel and Blaze joined by newcomers Max, a wrestler, and Sammy, a rollerblading kid, replacing Adam from the first game. The page shows character portraits for all 4 and several screenshots, showcasing the enhanced graphics, dynamic combat, and varied stage designs. There's also a section where a Sega development head discusses the game. He mentions the goal was to build upon the strengths of the first game, while making a much bigger and more dynamic experience. They wanted to ensure the game was strong enough to stand alongside other major titles, like Sonic 2 and Street Fighter 2 on the Super Famicom. He notes that the increased character size and depth of moves were key focuses, utilizing the larger room capacity effectively. This page previews the exciting future of the Sega Mega Drive, focusing on anticipated sequels to popular games. A large table lists titles like Romance of the Three Kingdoms 2I, Shinobi 2i, Langrisser 2, Warsong 2, Golden Axe 2i, and Shining Force 2, detailing their development status, which varies from production in progress and planning to undecided. The brief descriptions offer insights into the current state and sometimes hint at what players can expect from these follow-ups. Further down the page, there's a feature where the head of Sonic team discusses Shining Force 2, confirming its development is underway. The page concludes with a segment reflecting on the Mega Drive's ongoing momentum and mentions a Klydrom version of Strider Hiryu being in development, suggesting the console's library will continue to expand with significant titles. A small screenshot shows a familiar Sonic character with the word "Continue." This page features a special roundtable discussion with staff from Game Arts and Studio Alex, celebrating 1 year of continuous coverage for Lunar, the Silver Star. The article looks back at the creation and development of the game, which was announced alongside the Sega CD hardware, and also teases the possibility of a sequel, Lunar 2. Developers share their thoughts on the game's initial concept, compared to the final product, discussing the challenges and successes. They touch upon specific characters like Ramos, Mia, and Jessica, reflecting on their personalities and roles. The conversation covers the overall atmosphere and style of Lunar, noting its shift from a potentially hard feel to the more pleasant and vibrant game players know. They express pride in the collaborative effort that brought the game to life. The page is adorned with the Lunar, the Silver Star logo and artwork featuring several of the game's key characters, reflected within a large, imposing mechanical structure, hinting at the game's thematic elements. This page continues the insightful roundtable discussion with key members of the Lunar, the Silver Star development team from Game Arts and Studio Alex. Developers including Yoshitaka Hirokawa, Kazunari Tomi, Kei Tonuma, Akashi, and Miyagi share further reflections on the game's creation. They delve into the practicalities of development, discussing early programming hurdles, and the subsequent focus on realizing creative ideas. The conversation touches on the scenario writing process, the challenges of managing the workload, and the deliberate choice to create a protagonist who initially avoids killing, shaping the game's gentle atmosphere. They also highlight the importance of sound in Lunar, aiming for a rich audio experience on the Klydrom format. The team expresses satisfaction with user feedback received via survey postcards, and briefly looks ahead, contemplating possibilities for a sequel, perhaps with expanded content and polish. This page continues the roundtable discussion with the key developers behind Lunar, the Silver Star. Featured here are Toshiyuki Hino, Kei Shigema, Yoichi Miyagi, Toshio Akashi, and Tetsuya Uesaka. The conversation touches on the technical challenges of development, such as fitting the game onto the Mega CD. They reflect on the creative process and the importance of the story and characters in the game's success. A significant portion is dedicated to discussing the potential for a sequel, Lunar 2. While it's stated that nothing is decided yet, the developers share their ideas. Shigema expresses a desire to feature the character Jessica more prominently, while Hino suggests a story focusing on young girls. Akashi emphasizes delivering a solid dramatic experience. They discuss the overall direction and how they aim to build on the first game's success, addressing perceived shortcomings. The page concludes with a call for fan feedback regarding Lunar, the Silver Star, inviting readers to share their impressions and thoughts to potentially influence future development. This page features the Mega CD press section, focusing on previews of upcoming titles for the system. The main highlight here is Dark Wizard, a strategic RPG noted as being 70% complete and nearing release. The page delves into the backstory of the game's antagonist, Varanus. Once a disciple tasked with sealing the dark god Ahriman using the Orb of Darkness, he was banished to the desolate island of Viosidia for practicing dark magic. After 300 years of eternal imprisonment, Varanus breaks free, fueled by hatred, and aims to undo his past work by releasing Ahriman upon the world once more. He even creates the 4 heavenly kings of the demon army from his own body to lead his forces. The images show impressive artwork of Varanus, a backdrop of the ominous island of Viosidia, and pixel sprites of his generals, hinting at the dark fantasy setting and strategic gameplay. The side panel serves as a table of contents for this section, listing other games covered on subsequent pages, including notable titles like Afterburner 2i, Might and Magic 2i, and Monkey Island, showcasing the diverse lineup coming to the Mega CD. This page continues our look at Dark Wizard,
highlighting the game's unique structure, where players choose one of 4 distinct protagonists. Each character offers a different perspective and journey towards becoming a holy king to confront the demon army. Featured are the 4 potential heroes. First, the powerful knight Xion, who rises to leadership following the previous holy king's death. Next, Weneric IX, the rightful heir driven by revenge after losing his loved ones to the demon army's attack. We also see Imelda, a sorceress manipulated by Varusnes into seeking vengeance against the Holy King, who ultimately turns against the true enemy upon discovering the deception. Finally, there is Akemen, a cunning vampire who plots to usurp Varatines and rule the world himself. The page provides character artwork and summaries detailing each protagonist's unique backstory and motivations, giving a glimpse into the diverse narrative paths available in Dark Wizard. This page delves further into Dark Wizard's gameplay, starting with the initial phase in the town of Quintina. Players begin like a traditional RPG, exploring the town, visiting shops and locations like the tavern or elder's house, gathering information, buying items, and preparing for the impending conflict with the demon army. The interface uses a wizardry-style cursor selection within Windows, enhanced by the MegaDrive graphics. Combat involves building military strength. Players can recruit humanoid units like humans, elves, and dwarves with money, while monster types such as skeletons and dragons are summoned using magic. Units have different affinities and characteristics. Units gain experience from battles and can level up. Humanoid units can even change classes, like a fighter becoming a mage. The page shows examples of leveling up a fighter and a dragon. The strategic depth is highlighted next, explaining that there are multiple paths to conquer enemy castles. Crucially, players must leave a defensive force at conquered castles. Failing to do so means they will be immediately retaken by the enemy. This requires balancing the main attack force with adequate defense for captured territory. The page also shows the strategic map and command screen used for managing troops and planning the next move, including the ability to save the game. The final image appears to be a scene with dialogue from a defeated enemy commander. This page features Afterburner 2i for the Mega CD. It highlights the game's blend of air and ground combat, comparing the ground attack sections to the feel of the movie Firefox. The article notes that while traditional Afterburner focuses on aerial dogfights, this iteration on the Mega CD incorporates thrilling ground attacks, emphasizing the destruction of enemy bases and communication towers. The page also discusses the game's release delay, originally planned for late August but pushed back to November to further improve the graphics. The writer expresses anticipation despite the delay, noting the version already had a good degree of completion. Different game modes are mentioned, including arcade mode, an expert mode for advanced players, a tutorial mode based on Sega's arcade game, Strike Eagle, and a competition mode for time trials and other challenges. A significant portion focuses on the game's background music. The reviewer was particularly impressed with the varied soundtrack for the Mega CD version, which includes styles like house and easy listening, a departure from the typical intense music found in shooting games. The developer explains that the CD format allowed for more diverse musical arrangements, utilizing its capacity to play high-quality audio. Screenshots show intense ground combat, aerial dogfights, and the ranking screen displaying high scores. This page covers upcoming Mega CD titles, highlighting a couple of exciting Japanese and Western releases. First up is Volume 3 of the IS Psychic Detective series, a popular FM Towns visual novel making its way to the Mega CD. The game features the unique concept of a psychic analyst protagonist who delves into people's minds. It's noted to utilize the DAP system, adding to the anticipation for this port of the distinctive series. The other major feature is the arrival of the overseas masterpiece, RPG, Might and Magic 2, on the Mega CD. Already a hit on PC and Genesis, this third installment is set to bring its classic 3D dungeon crawling and vast world to the platform. The article discusses the high quality of the original IBM PC version's graphics and sound, expressing hope that the Mega CD port will faithfully recreate that experience. Screenshots from the PC version are shown, emphasizing the impressive visuals we can expect. Both games are confirmed to be single-player experiences, with development progress gauges indicating they are early in production. This page dives into the upcoming Mega CD title, Thunderstorm FX. This is a port of the classic Laserdisc arcade game, Thunderstorm, known in the US arcades as Cobra Command. The article expresses excitement about bringing this cinematic rail shooter experience, previously limited to expensive LD hardware, to the home console in real time via the Mega CD. A significant portion is dedicated to the Easter Island stage. It describes the initial aerial battle over the island
and the transition into the iconic Moai statue section. The highlight is noted as the smooth camera movement circling the massive Moai, and the reviewer strongly recommends using headphones to fully appreciate the audio. The stage culminates in destroying a final gun turret near the Moai. A sidebar points out that the Easter Island stage is relatively short compared to others, and doesn't yield many points. It emphasizes paying close attention to the directional arrows to avoid crashing into the cliffs during the narrow coastal path section. Screenshots showcase the gameplay, including views of the Moai statues, aerial combat, and the targeting reticle, with captions like, "Mouth does not spit rings," and highlighting the importance of accurate targeting. The game is a single-player shooter developed by Wolf Team. This page continues the look at the upcoming Mega CD release of Cobra Command, focusing on the forest stage. Following the cinematic Easter Island section, this stage transitions from navigating a forest to traversing a valley before finally infiltrating and destroying the enemy's secret base. The article highlights the impressive realism, particularly the sense of depth as walls approach, and mentions varied combat encounters, including anti-tank battles within the forest and aerial dogfights in the valley. A key point emphasized is the immediate challenge at the start of the stage, with a 3-plane enemy squadron appearing rapidly. Players are advised to quickly memorize their positions and aim. The reviewer also warns about potentially confusing the buttons for air and ground targets, and the need to learn the enemy tank patterns in the forest. The page also dedicates a section to the game's binaural sound feature. It explains that this technology creates a true 3D audio experience, allowing players to discern the direction and distance of sounds like explosions and enemy engines, making the action feel incredibly immersive and realistic. The article strongly recommends using headphones to fully appreciate this feature. Screenshots illustrate different phases of the stage, from exiting the forest to discovering and assaulting the secret base, culminating in a clear screen. This page continues the look at the Mega CD release of Cobra Command, shifting focus to the challenging later stages. Stage 6 is set in Rome, featuring visually striking ancient ruins against green mountains. Despite the scenery, this stage is noted as significantly harder than previous ones. A major difficulty point highlighted is the immediate appearance of enemy targeting reticles right after evading, requiring lightning-fast reflexes, and making it feel almost impossible without pure luck. Screenshots show the aerial view, ruins, and a close-up of a helicopter engagement in this stage. After the rigors of Rome, players move to the atmospheric cave stage, which is compared to the arcade game Thunderblade. This stage presents a different challenge, with small, fast-moving targets that appear to warp, and a strong sense of depth typical of LD game ports. It's also noted for frustrating restart points after misses, where targets can appear instantly, catching unprepared players off guard. Screenshots show interior cave combat. The page also includes a crucial gameplay tip about the anti-air Vulcan weapon. Unlike an earlier development version, the retail game requires players to periodically release and repress the fire button to avoid the weapon cutting off, adding another layer of control management to the intense action. This page dives into the Sega CD shooter, Robo Aleste. This preview focuses on the game's weaponry, based on a sample version playable up to stage 1. It explains the core normal shot can be powered up by collecting chips dropped by certain enemies. However, the main highlight is the special weapon system, which is tied to the player's option unit. The game features 4 distinct special weapons, acquired through items and powered up by collecting duplicates. The weapons include the Rai Sen Ha, Lightning Flashwave, a powerful straight laser effective against bosses, the Fuma Shuriken, Wind Demon Shuriken, a multi-directional attack that gains rear coverage when powered up, the Hiei Metsu Fujin, Flying Shadow Annihilation Wind Formation, a rotating option primarily for defense in close quarters, and the Bakuryu Hosenka, Exploding Willow Balsam Flower, which launches numerous small explosive bombs. The article notes that players can even detach the option unit. The reviewer mentions the game is still in development, currently around 60% complete, but notes the Stage 1 boss is already quite challenging. The focus here is clearly on giving players a taste of the diverse arsenal they'll command. This page features a guide to starting out in the adventure game Rise of the Dragon for the Sega CD, a port from the IBM PC. The article explains the gameplay involves exploring areas using a cursor and receiving voice information, with choices impacting the story. It details the very beginning of the game, which starts in protagonist Blade's room. The guide walks the player through examining the room, highlighting interactive spots like the locked cabinet, the wash basin, and the bathroom medicine cabinet where important items are found. It also provides a humorous warning about the consequences of foolish actions, like leaving in just underwear, stressing the importance of using common sense to avoid a game over. Screenshots show various locations within Blade's apartment. After leaving Blade's apartment in Rise of the Dragon, use the video phone to receive the mayor's message for the core investigation details and a photo of the victim, Laura. Keep the photo. The IL card is vital for the video phone and accessing Blade's apartment. Visit City Hall first to speak with a niece and obtain a key before closing time. The mayor's tip directs you to the Pleasure Dome to gather information. A key gameplay tip warns against sleeping anywhere except Blade's home to avoid losing items. This page covers the Mega CD RPG, Burai Hachigyoku Densetsu, highlighting its upcoming release in September. The game is described as a revised version with a story spanning 8 chapters, penned by Kenji Iijima. It proudly displays a 100% completion gauge and notes it's a single-player experience praised for its user-friendliness, controls, and sound. The article delves into the emotional ending of the Gonzalez and Mai Mai chapter, discussing the apparent death of Mai Mai and the subsequent investigation involving a mysterious tower. Screenshots showcase characters like Gonzalez, Mai Mai, a cat-like creature, and a majestic 9-tailed fox with its offspring, hinting at plot twists and challenges faced by the protagonists. The text builds intrigue around the true identity of the villain after encountering the fox. This page dives into the second chapter of Burai, Legend of the 8 Orbs on the Mega CD, focusing on the enigmatic character Sakyogen, the warrior of the White Orb. His profile reveals he's actually an ancient deity from the celestial realm, the leader of the Dragon Clan, whose true form is the formidable Ice Dragon. Despite appearing cool and reserved, he harbors passionate emotions and a tragic past linked to his immortality. Upon descending to the planet Kypros, Sakyo seals his immense power, aided by the Golden and Silver Dragons. The immediate goal is to prepare in a local town before heading to Daku Mountain. The game mechanics highlighted include exploring the world map and towns, and a key strategy involves selling items like Asherons, dropped by defeated enemies, to earn money for equipment upgrades as they fetch a high price. The narrative deepens upon reaching Daku Mountain. Sakyo's purpose is a deeply personal one, to visit the grave of his past love, Kaede. However, he discovers the grave has been destroyed due to military mining operations. Overcome with grief and rage, Sakyo summons his allies, the Golden and Silver Dragons. The chapter teases a confrontation, with assassins lying in wait for Sakyo, hinting at a significant event about to unfold. This page unveils the secret of Monkey Island, a landmark point-and-click adventure from LucasArts, making its way to the Mega CD. Originally a huge hit on the IBM PC in 1990, this port aims to bring the classic pirate tale to Sega fans, described here as a new sensation adventure. While the visuals are represented largely by screenshots from the FM Towns version, with some slight color differences noted compared to the Mega CD version, they still showcase the game's charming art style and vibrant pirate world. Players step into the shoes of Guybrush 3 Propwood, an aspiring pirate facing 3 challenging trials on Melee Island, a quest that soon becomes entangled with the kidnapping of Governor Marley by the nefarious ghost pirate LeChuck. The article highlights the simple, mouse-driven gameplay and the wildly imaginative story that earned the original game numerous awards. The Mega CD version is noted as being 30% complete at the time of this publication. This page features Wolfchild, a visually striking action game heading to the Mega CD, presented as Victor Musical Industries' second major release. The story follows a youth whose geneticist father is kidnapped by an evil organization creating beastmen. The protagonist is also turned into a creature, but, retaining his human heart, escapes to rescue his father and get revenge. Gameplay revolves around transforming into the powerful Wolfchild form by collecting items. In human form, you primarily punch, but as Wolfchild, you gain enhanced abilities and can use various projectile weapons. The screenshots showcase the transformation and battles against mutated enemies and bosses across different environments, including a base escape and a dark forest. The article notes the game is 80% complete and is a port of the version popular on the Amiga computer in Europe. Get ready for some intense go-go-go transform action. This page delves into 2 simulation and RPG titles from Wolf Team making their way to the Mega CD. First up is Tenbu Mega CD Special, a real-time simulation based on the historical records of the Three Kingdoms, not the popular novel. It boasts a massive amount of character data, around 1,000 individuals, and a real-time system where you manage a ruler, appoint generals, and expand territory. The PC version was praised for its innovative MVIWS multi-window system that allowed players to view multiple pieces of information simultaneously, making complex strategy management easier. The screenshots show map views, character stats, and scenario scenes, highlighting the detailed data and strategic depth. Following that is a feature on Arcus 222, bringing the entire acclaimed RPG series from Wolf Team onto a single Mega CD disc. The series evolved over time, with Arcus I and II featuring traditional top-down maps, and Arcus II-I moving to 3D dungeon exploration with a mapping function. While primarily command-based battles, the series incorporated interesting systems, like viewpoint attacks and a unique name feedback system, where player actions influenced world rumors. The collection promises a comprehensive experience covering the protagonist's growth over 12 years across the three titles. The screenshots show the different perspectives from the games, including the 3D dungeon view and character interactions. The article notes the evolution of the systems and visual presentation throughout the series, and expresses anticipation for how these elements will be brought to the Mega CD. This page features two upcoming titles for the Mega CD. First up is Presence Nostalgia 2, an adventure game following the previous title, Nostalgia 1907's. Unlike the sepia-tone predecessor set at sea, this sequel goes full color, moves to the modern era, and centers on an airplane hijacking. Protagonist Kasuke Yamada, a headhunter, finds himself embroiled in this airborne crisis, along with his partner. The reviewer notes it feels more like a virtual mystery series, and looks forward to the character interactions and dialogue. Screenshots show character portraits and scenes related to the hijacked plane. Next is Capcom's Quiz Tokusama no Yabu, a quiz game based on a popular arcade title. This Mega CD version uniquely blends the quiz format with a Sengoku, Warring States, simulation. Players become a warlord attempting to unify Japan by conquering territories, which requires winning quiz battles against opposing lords. The game promises around 4,000 fully voiced questions, and includes special mini-events exclusive to the Mega CD version, adding extra gameplay variety. The reviewer is excited about this blend of genres and the added features, noting it's a good way to spend the autumn nights. Screenshots display the map of Japan, portraits of warlords, and examples of the minigame events. This page dives into a bizarre new Mega CD title called Switch, releasing next February. This isn't your typical adventure game. It's billed as a gag adventure, where pressing switches in the game world triggers over 1,000 absurd, fully animated gags. The core concept involves scientists creating software linked to every switch in a world teetering on collapse, and it's up to the player, controlling Slapcoon, to interact with these switches to navigate the bizarre events. Slapcoon's companion is a dog named Stick, a resident of this strange gag world. The game is packed with slapstick comedy, utilizing the MegaDrive's graphical capabilities for zoom and rotation effects in its countless animated scenes. Examples of the gags range from vending machines dispensing vomit, to entire houses transforming and moving away when you ring the doorbell. Screenshots show Slapcoon in various strange scenarios, including a sci-fi laboratory, a peculiar phone booth scene with question marks, and encountering a giant bat while holding an umbrella, highlighting the sheer ridiculousness on display. This game seems dedicated to throwing as many visual and situational gags at the player as possible. This page features an interview with Hajime Tanabe, the creator of the bizarre Mega CD game Switch, continuing the discussion from the previous page. The page includes multiple photos of Tanabe, and a screenshot of the game's distinctive character displayed on a television. Tanabe explains that the inspiration for the game came to him while on an airplane, reflecting on the numerous switches found everywhere. He confirms the game features a mix of everyday switches and entirely unique, strange ones. A key design goal was to make the game accessible, ensuring even less skilled players could reach the ending to witness the over 1,000 gags they created for the game. The ending involves a parade of all the game's characters, achievable only after pressing the final switch to save the world. Interestingly, the game also includes gags like destroying historical landmarks, adding to the absurd humor. Tanabe's background as a renowned gag writer and director for television and theater clearly informs the game's unique, comedy-driven approach. The next page continues the interview with Hajime Tanabe about the Sega Mega CD title Switch, The page features more photos of Tanabe and a small image of the game's distinctive character, seemingly displayed on a television or monitor, alongside a text box related to the music composer. Tanabe discusses the game's save system, stating it is possible to save, and that he wants players to see everything they created. He explains the character, Stick-kun, the dog, was initially a sketch that was included in the game, appearing suddenly in scenes to perform gags by himself. The music is handled by the composer Tanabe-san, who also influenced Hajime Tanabe's gag creation, citing the show Geba Geba 90 Minutes. Regarding sound, the game will not have spoken dialogue, but will feature plenty of sound effects like gya and wah, making it similar to a silent film in that regard. Tanabe highlights the interactive nature of Switch, where player actions trigger reactions and gags, unlike traditional linear media. He notes the game contains numerous gags, including some black humor, and encourages adults, especially those who don't typically play games, to try Switch for its unique experience. Heroic Legend of Arslan, a Mega CD title, is a fantasy simulation RPG based on Yoshiki Tanaka's work. The game is split into visual and battle sections. Visuals retell the story up to Volume 7 through animation, using a high frame rate and over 1,000 graphic sheets, created by the anime film's staff. These scenes, exceeding the movie in quality, focus on dramatic storytelling. The battle section offers strategic depth with simplified controls and detailed battle maps with smooth animations. Gameplay alternates between narrative progression and combat scenarios, with the player controlling Arslan. The game is currently 60% complete, with the release date pending, and aims to deliver a faithful adaptation of the source material. This page focuses on Black Hole Assault, the sequel to the robot fighting game Heavy Nova on the Mega CD. Picking up where the predecessor left off, this title plunges players back into intense robot combat with enhanced metallic visuals and multiple game modes. Beyond the standard single-player experience, it offers exhibition, tournament, and league modes, with the robust two-player versus mode being a major highlight. The game also includes a comprehensive manual mode, detailing robot stats and moves, alongside a unique, command line-like interface that adds to the atmosphere. The lower section provides overflowing information on other upcoming Mega CD titles. Wolf Team is actively porting Laserdisc games, with Time Gal scheduled for a late September release. Micronet is also stepping up with Illusion City, a cyberpunk RPG set in near-future Hong Kong, slated for release next spring. Victor Musical Industries is also expected to announce more titles soon. The page also includes a detailed look at the character Thunder from the acclaimed Lightning Force, Quest for the Dark Star. This page is dedicated to Terra Communication, focusing on bringing overseas software to the MegaDrive platform. The section is now condensed into a single page but packs a punch. First up is a look at Ultima Underworld, the latest entry in the acclaimed Ultima series. Building on the first-person perspective popularized by games like Dungeon Master, Underworld stands out as a truly real-time RPG experience. It uses bitmap and polygon graphics to create immersive dungeons where you freely move and interact, encountering both monsters and other characters. Combat and magic are also handled in real time, making for a dynamic system. Next we have the games. Winter Challenge by Accolade. This title offers 8 different enjoyable winter sports events, including speed skating, ski jumping, and biathlon. It's presented as a fun way to experience winter sports, perhaps even useful for practicing your mental game. The Terra Information Corner focuses on software and peripherals for the MegaDrive. It introduces Mahjong Goku, a DOS/versus Mahjong game where you play as Goku battling opponents across 3 countries, each with unique personalities. There's also a useful queue and a section answering a common question about connecting an external hard disk to the MegaDrive, confirming it's possible using a Minish Kasi adapter. This page features a review of Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2 for the Game Gear. This racing title benefits from the direct supervision of the legendary F1 driver, Ayrton Senna himself. The game simulates the F1 GP experience, offering 16 distinct courses. A major difference from the previous game is the inclusion of Senna's course advice. Players can also adjust car settings, like wing, mission, tire, and gear. Screenshots show the title screen, a technical car setup menu, and various race views, including detailed representations of different tracks like Portugal, Germany, Japan, and Belgium. According to the review's evaluation diamond, the game scores moderately well across the board, with audio visuals rated highest. The 1-point review notes a shift towards more technical operation compared to the predecessor, highlighting the challenge of competing directly against Senna and suggesting the mission mode is best played in 6th gear for a better experience. The possibility of 2-player versus matches is also mentioned as something to look forward to. This page features reviews of 2 new Game Gear titles. First is Honu no Tukyuji Dodge Danpei, a dodgeball game based on the manga. It portrays dodgeball as a combat sport with a rich history. The gameplay uses command inputs, likened to Tecmo's Captain Tsubasa series, focusing on dramatic encounters, friendship, and rivalry typical of shonen manga. The review includes a diamond chart rating operation and game balance at 3, AV at 4.5, and longevity at 2.5. The 1-point review notes the low freedom in defensive action, only catch or dodge, but praises the character visuals. Next is Shaddam Crusader Distant Kingdom, an RPG set in an Arabian world. Originally titled Shaddam Senki, it's described as highly anticipated by the GG staff for its detailed game system and scenario. Key features include a resume function allowing players to save and continue anytime. Screenshots show exploration, dialogue, and battle scenes, highlighting the game's Arabian atmosphere. The page also includes a GG hotline column providing Game Gear-related news and commentary. This page is dedicated to helping players overcome difficult challenges in Sega Mega Drive games. It's the 3rd installment of this feature, expanding to 2 pages to cover more titles.
First up is Help for Sword of Sodan, where a player is stuck on the 3rd boss.
The solution explains how to handle the 2 giant enemies, suggesting tactics like getting close, observing their stance, backing off to hit their heads, and using jump attacks. There's also information on medicine combinations and their effects, such as increasing attack, healing, granting temporary invincibility, and enabling warps. Next, for Lentum Hero, a player needs help finding the Nya Nyanium. The page indicates it's found at an archaeological site by the investigation team. A crucial step involves examining Lunzerman's grave to find a note containing hints for a gem puzzle.
Solving this puzzle allows reading ancient script, essential for progress. Several screenshots illustrate the key locations and the gem puzzle. The page also addresses how to deal with dynamite dogs near the end of the game, explaining there are 2 types and how to get a necessary key. Finally, for Bahamut Senki, a player asks about making the character Elwyn playable, as she only appears in the battle mode options. The answer reveals a hidden method. Press the A button twice on the title screen before the demo starts, then select New Game to play as Elwyn. This guide provides solutions to player issues in several Sega Genesis/Mega Drive games. In Magical Girl Silky Clip, the player must thoroughly examine the plush toy room and use gravity magic after the character Choco disappears to progress. Sorcerian's Coral Puzzle in the Vanished Land scenario requires hitting the notes low B, D, G, high B, A, fixing any incorrect hits with the Onyx humanoid item. Characters age, and for near immortality, characters die. Revive them with a pentaflower after 20 years, and rejuvenate them. Streets of Rage has a bad end achievable, with 2 players at the final boss. Finally, Castle of Illusion's miserable boss fight involves reacting to her movements, jumping to avoid projectiles, and attacking when she solidifies on the lower platform. Contact information is included for players seeking further help. This page dives into the B-Mega Secret Technique League, Volume 29, highlighting some cool, manufacturer-approved cheats and tricks. First up is Dyna Brothers, where you can unlock special bonus stages using specific passwords. Passwords like Saru, Emi, Rika, and PPPP each lead to unique maps. One looks like a monkey, another a heart, one features a specific character, and another has bizarre enemy behavior. Next, for Genghis Khan 2, Clan of the Grey Wolf, you can unlock a hidden tug-of-war minigame. It requires setting the game select window to its maximum size, moving the cursor to the data load option, and then pressing both start buttons, followed by the 1PA button. For Streets of Rage, there's a trick to access a round select feature. On the options screen, hold right and a +B+C on the 2P controller, then press start on the 1P controller to bring up the round selection settings. Finally, Glee Lancer has a legendary code for a super difficult mania mode. On the title screen, input the sequence up, down,
Left, right, BA. If done correctly, the title text changes color, indicating you've unlocked the insane challenge.
The magazine seems genuinely impressed by the discovery of these secrets.
Mega Secret Technique League, Volume 29, presents more gaming secrets. In Mahou no Shoujo Silky Lip, a conversation test mode is activated by holding Start and A, B, and C during boot. Heavy Nova allows immediate access to the ending by holding A and C on both controllers and pressing both start buttons.
Grand Slam reveals a password. Grand
Slam. Enhancing player stats. Toe Jam and Earl features a glitch. Pressing start during a specific demo sequence enables jam out mode with visual and audio anomalies. The league offers prizes based on technique ranking. Ubana for top submissions, Kuen and Kusanagi for others, all judged by the editorial team. Submissions are accepted via postcard. A final note hints at a music-related secret in Lunar, the Silver Star. This page delves into the history of TV games, specifically the 7th installment, focusing on the avant-garde chapter that emerged after the massive Space Invaders boom of 1978. It describes how games released immediately after this phenomenon were often experimental and diverse, appearing in arcade centers that had a unique, somewhat dimly lit atmosphere compared to modern arcades. These interactive experiences felt fresh and new, ushering in a new era of gaming. The lower section highlights Nintendo's 1979 game, Sheriff. The article notes its Western theme and gunfight concept. It emphasizes the game's distinctive control scheme, an 8-way lever for movement, and a separate channel switch for aiming and shooting in any direction. While initially difficult, mastering this unique control is key to success. The reviewer praises the sound design, generated by the Intel 8035 CPU, calling it excellent background music. Screenshots showcase the game's simple graphics, displaying scores, credits, and the character sprites. The gameplay involves dodging enemies that enter from the corners and using precise shooting to survive. There are also bonus stages every 3 screens, where points can double, leading to rapidly increasing scores if played well.
This page spotlights Taito's 1979 arcade title, Lunar Rescue, a fascinating game that emerged right after the massive impact of Space Invaders. Built on a modified Invaders board with double the data capacity, it presented a starkly different challenge despite its lineage. The core objective is to pilot a rescue craft down to the moon surface, pick up stranded people one by one, and ferry them back to the waiting mothership high above. This requires precision flying through asteroid fields and mastering the combined fire/accelerate button. Clearing a stage involves making 6 separate trips, rescuing everyone. The game ramps up the difficulty significantly, eventually throwing fast-moving asteroids at you, making later stages incredibly tough, sometimes even seemingly impossible. A unique touch is the demonstration screen shown after clearing 3 stages, where an invader appears, speaks in its own cryptic language, and then translates it to "fight," adding a humorous, encouraging moment before the challenge continues. The page features several screenshots showcasing the game's vector-like graphics, from the landing sequence to evading obstacles and the memorable invader demo. Despite its age, Lunar Rescue was technically advanced for the time, boasting a substantial program size and a memorable visual style that stood out. This page features a look back at Smunk's 1979 arcade title, Ozma Wars. Described as a richly varied game for its time, the review highlights how impressive it was then, with a large number of character types and stage structures across 4 distinct screens. The gameplay involves a ship battling slowly descending enemies, starting with unique sound effects and spacecraft designs. A key mechanic is firing an energy beam that requires precise aiming to hit targets. The game boasts varied enemies and challenging patterns. Notable are foes that split into smaller parts, child separation. And the difficult Meteor Boss, which descends diagonally, is described as the King of Terror, and unleashes scattered shots and guided missiles upon being hit. A critical element is managing energy, which depletes and can only be replenished by successfully docking with a refueling station, a sequence shown in the screenshots along with various enemy encounters, and the intimidating meteor. The review notes that the meteor appearing at the end of stages should be dealt with from a high position. Overall, Ozma Wars is presented as a surprising and challenging title for its era, packed with content and demanding player skill, especially in managing energy and facing tough bosses.
This page looks back at Konami's 1979 arcade game, Space War, which was commonly known as Chameleon Army. The nickname came from the laser's tongue-like movement and a song by the popular duo Pink Lady, whose photo is featured here. The game is a highly tense versus shooter, featuring a vertical screen layout where two players, or one against the computer, duel. The gameplay revolves around firing a fast, impactful laser while managing energy. Obstacles move across the screen, adding to the challenge. Firing depletes energy, which cannot be replenished rapidly. The game's hardware is noted as compatible with the Osmo Wars board, mentioned on the previous page, although Space War is much simpler in structure. Despite this simplicity, the reviewer highlights the sharp tension and deep concentration required, likening the high-speed combat to a real battle. Player versus computer costs 1 coin, while player versus player requires 2. An interesting detail shown is a screenshot displaying a Konami phone number, presumably for sales or inquiries at the time. Overall, Space War is presented as a surprisingly engaging and tense title for its era, proving that simple design doesn't mean a boring game. This page marks the exciting debut of a dedicated Neo Geo section, celebrating the platform's impressive power in games. The main focus is Alpha Denshi's fighting game, World Heroes, which pits 8 historical figures against each other in a tournament. The reviewer highlights that mastering each character's unique special moves is key to victory. A table is included detailing the input commands for these moves for characters like Hanzo, Fuma, Dragon, Jan, Jay Karn, Muscle Power, Brocken, and Rasputin. Beyond standard versus matches, the game offers a chaotic deathmatch mode with unique arenas featuring hazards like electricity and oil slicks, adding a wild, unpredictable element that the reviewer finds particularly engaging. The page also briefly mentions Ninja Commando from SNK, noting it's a fun, action-packed side-scrolling game that allows for 2-player co-op, perfect for playing and laughing with friends. The content conveys enthusiasm for the Neo Geo system and the diverse gameplay experiences these titles offer. This page details a reader-present campaign for the September 1992 issue. It outlines the application process using postcards and announces several exciting prizes. The main draws include the chance for 30 readers to win a MegaDrive software title of their choice and 5 readers a Game Gear title, selecting from games released up to the end of August 1992. Further prizes feature a signed CD of the Street Fighter II commercial song, with a screenshot of the iconic fighting game shown alongside. 5 winners can get their hands on the unique Mega Drive title Baryon Gauge, known for its innovative vertical running mechanic using special tires, as depicted in the game's screenshot. 3 lucky readers will receive a historical novel titled Fictional Battle, Masamune Date's Great Expedition. Finally, 5 winners get a copy of the French magazine Megaforce, highlighted as a useful resource for studying French, with its cover featuring artwork from Streets of Rage. The information section comments on the distinct nature of Mega Drive users and the console's unique evolution, suggesting a focus on market strategy. The page also provides contact details for reader questions and information about recruiting contributors. This page features information on 2 distinct Sega titles. Dominating the upper portion is Ambition of Caesar II, a historical simulation game putting you in the shoes of Julius Caesar. The text highlights its ambitious scope, with detailed visuals, music, and a spectacular storyline, noted as a significant improvement over its predecessor. Screenshots showcase the game's systems, including a detailed quarter-view map for battles and terrain, a flexible window system for managing information, and a real-time battle mode supporting 2-player versus. Below that, the page promotes Heavy Nova for the Sega CD, stating it's now on sale. This looks like a mech-based fighting or action game, with screenshots showing robotic characters in combat and on structured stages. The game is priced at 6,800 yen. Finally, a smaller section at the bottom right also announces something now on sale for 8,800 yen, 8 meg. This likely refers to a separate game, possibly a strategy or shooter title, judging by the screenshot of spaceship combat and a top-down map view with units. The overall page presents a mix of genres available for Sega platforms. This page features a split focus on 2 prominent Sega Mega Drive titles from Micronet. The upper portion is dedicated to Ambition of Caesar, a historical simulation game set in ancient Rome. The striking artwork features Roman soldiers and historical figures, emphasizing the game's grand scope. It's highlighted as being highly acclaimed, now on sale,
with a price of 8,800 yen. Below, the page shifts gears dramatically to showcase Thunder Force IV, known as Lightning Force. Quest for the Dark Star internationally. This side-scrolling shooter is touted as an orthodox shooting game that returns to and surpasses the genre's origins. A fitting description for one of the era's top shmups. The image features the iconic Red Fire Leo IV ship. The bottom right section reinforces the promotion for Ambition of Caesar, describing it as opening a new door for simulation. It displays screenshots showing the strategic map view and character details, confirms it is now on sale, lists the 8,800 yen price, and mentions it's an 8 meg cartridge release. The publisher, Micronet, is credited with contact information. This page effectively promotes a diverse offering, from deep historical simulation to intense arcade shooting action, both available on the Mega Drive. This page is centered around Technosoft's incredible shoot-'em-up, Thunder Force IV, known internationally as Lightning Force. Quest for the Dark Star. The main visual features the game's striking title logo and a dynamic screenshot showing the player ship, the Fire Leo IV, in action against enemies, and the detailed landscape. The page also highlights an original 12cm CD release, the fifth in a series, specifically for Thunder Force IV. It proudly announces that the CD includes all the game's tracks, plus arranged versions, promising the splendidly expanding Thunder Force IV world, and over 40 compelling soundscapes, with the arranged tracks being the highest tide of emotion. This limited press CD is priced at 2,500 yen. Information is provided on how to order the CD via postal transfer, detailing the necessary information required. Additionally, there's a small section for staff recruitment, seeking programmers, sound creators, and graphic designers, aged 22 or younger. Contact details for Technosoft, the developer, are provided at the bottom, including their address and telephone number. Small images show a new company building completed in 1993 and an original arcade board. This page effectively promotes Technosoft's latest hit and related merchandise, while also looking to expand their team. This page features a vibrant advertisement for Technosoft, proudly proclaiming, "A new legend is born!" which, given the previous page's focus and the IS logo, strongly points to Lightning Force. Quest for the Dark Star. The main visual is a stunning pixel art depiction of a fierce blue and red mechanical dragon or creature surrounded by various orb-like enemies, set against a horizontally scanned backdrop. The ad announces the game is now available, priced at 8,800 yen plus tax. This page serves as a direct call to action, highlighting the release of Technosoft's highly anticipated title, with impactful visuals and a powerful tagline. This page features previews for upcoming Game Gear titles. The top section highlights Ayrton Senna's Super Monaco GP2, coming to the handheld, featuring the legendary driver himself. This version boasts the game's 16 global courses, plus a special course designed by Senna, emphasizing the realistic racing experience on the go. The lower section previews Dodge Danpei, a popular dodgeball title based on the manga/anime series. It showcases the game's characters, including the protagonist Danpei, and Sonic the Hedgehog makes an appearance. The ad emphasizes exciting versus play, bringing the intense dodgeball action to the Game Gear. There is a small advertisement for the Game Gear console itself, highlighting its portability and optional TV tuner accessory, encouraging players to enjoy games anywhere. The vertical text identifies this as the September 1992 issue of BeepMD magazine.